Hey guys. Oh, I didn't turn my lights on. That's better. I knew I forgot something. I kept I kept hovering over the button to go live and I kept thinking, no, I know I'm forgetting something. Lights. Hello everyone. Today we are, shocker, doing a little bit more doming. But not, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I moved my mic and I think I just cackled right in your ear. Sorry, I'm still adjusting to this placement. Let me move. I'm also trying to move things around a little bit, so just a sec while I get it in a better position. Oh gosh. So we're not going to be doing too much doming. I promise. just a little bit. My coffee's totally in my way. I usually am able to finish at least 2 cups before I get started, but I've been moving slow, so I only just started my second cup and I'm tired. I don't know why I say I'm tired. I don't think coffee affects me really that way. I think it's more a mental thing. But all right, so we have some really pretty stuff to dome actually. Oh, sorry, let me move this out of the way. So we have these new little death tarot cards that I'm so excited about. This is another one. If you've seen any of my earlier streams, you'll know I have a slight obsession with Alley Cat's Crafts. She does just the cutest stuff. I love it. So this is from her. And oops. And because it is so cold, what I did was I went ahead and liquid latexed them all up. It's kind of been our new thing lately, is just liquid latexing everything. And then doing a dome with a non-doming epoxy. It's not something I would normally recommend doing, but because it is so cold, like right now it's only 70, it's not even 75 degrees. Usually I'm dealing with temperatures more like 95 degrees. So my super clear, which is what I use to dome, it's just been not, it's been fine, but it just doesn't have the same workability. Um, I don't know, I'm still kind of trying to pinpoint. It's almost, I think it's kind of like it has that issue where if you mix too little of something like that that's really not meant for tiny items, you get so many micro bubbles that they don't even have time to all escape. I'm having that kind of an issue, but I am not mixing a tiny amount, so that's why I think it's the cold. So it is a tabletop epoxy, so it's really not meant for what I'm doing, but I've found really, really good results with it, and I think that's because I usually use it in very, very hot temperatures. So, oh, you know what? I should not have put these gloves on yet because I noticed we got to do something really, really quick. And it's not the most disclaimer, it's not the most interesting thing, but if anyone hasn't had to do this before, it'll just be a quick show of. I noticed a few bubbles. Uh-oh, I didn't clean up the liquid latex in the front of this one. That's not good. So, if you get a bubble on the side of your piece, that's on the edge of the mold, and then you pull it out, the bubble is a little bit more than just like kind of unattractive, right? It's actually a structural issue because when you go to dome, if you're doming the piece, well, actually, I mean, it's an issue regardless. So if you don't dome the piece, what you have is a sharp edge. And I actually, at one of my events, someone gave me such a nice compliment. They said they really, really loved, they already owned self-defense keychains, a couple of them. But they said that when they used it, like when they actually, were holding it and everything, that it would scratch them. And obviously, I don't know because they didn't show me the pieces. But what I suspect the reason that they were getting scratched, sorry, side note, I just realized how ridiculous my hair looks. Sorry, we're just gonna go with that. um, I was really moving slow and I'm really cold. So it's not much of an excuse, but Anyway, so what this person was saying was that when they actually used the self-defense keychains that they owned, that it would scratch their hands. And so what I suspect is that um, the person who made them had bubbles on the edge like that that they didn't take care of. And I totally get why, because it is a pain in the butt, you know, especially if doming isn't something that you do regularly. So I do dome regularly, but bubbles are still an issue. I try really hard to take care of them. Here's one. Excuse me, sorry. I tried to take care of them before it's cured, so it's not an issue after the fact, but you know, sometimes I get lazy. So do you see this teeny little bubble here? It's like hardly an issue, right? But I want to put tape there because since we're not using a doming epoxy, it is going to slide through that hole. So if I was using super clear, I'd be less concerned. Super clear is like magical when it comes to doming, honestly. It can put up with so much. If I put this tape here, is it going to be in your eyeballs? No, good. So, oh, hey, Gothic. Thank you. I feel like, what's that cartoon? Was it Doug from way back? I forget which character. Their hair just sticks out straight left and right. I'm kind of getting those vibes. But oh well, it's comfortable. So comfort is my number one priority always. So I was just saying, we're just taking care of some of these holes because I'm not using a doming epoxy since it's so cold. Oh my gosh, I should know better than to put liquid latex on liquid latex. So I'm just like applying just the littlest bit of tape. I don't know. I'm not great at using tape. I don't really like using it, to be totally honest. But when it comes to bubbles on the side of a piece, I'm not honestly sure what is a better solution. I think tape is the best solution because it'll hold its form like this around so that when I use a non-doming epoxy, it's going to give it a barrier to stop at. The girl from Recess. Oh, why does that sound so familiar? Oh, that sounds so familiar, but I cannot put my finger on it. My memory is like actually the worst. like like actually the worst. I hate it. I'm so impressed with people who have such good memories. Like honestly, I can't even remember the names of like my favorite songs. I don't. It's just like there isn't enough storage space up here for even my favorite things. It's so weird. Okay, gosh, this is a little bit difficult using yellow on yellow, like yellow latex, liquid latex on yellow design. I see another hole here. I don't know if I want to patch, but again, if I was using super clear, I would not patch that. But I'm so nervous about using this epoxy. Where even was it here? I'm so nervous using a non-doming epoxy to dome with because it really is a mess. Because I mean, it's a self-leveling epoxy, which is great, but that means it just falls right off the edge. You know, it doesn't have that like stickiness. I never can describe this quite right. Gosh, this is so annoying. I suck at using tape. Um, but you know, kind of like I always think of it like raindrops. Raindrops on a leaf. You know, super clear does that so well. Where it's just like a giant, huge raindrop on a leaf, whereas this stuff it just splats. There's got to be a better analogy than that, but that's what I have. If I don't get this tape up high enough, it's going to be useless, but I suck at this. Okay, better idea, better thought. Sorry, I just screeched into the mic. I'm so frustrated. I hate using tape. More than liquid latex taping, to be honest. Well, no, I don't think I'm ready to say that. But okay, all right, that guy's fine. We'll see what happens. The good thing is we have liquid latex them like crazy, so even if it does, when it does fall off the edges, at least we won't be ruining pieces. So yeah, you remember random stuff. I wish I could even remember random stuff. I don't even know if I could say that, to be honest. Well, maybe. Maybe. I also made these weird, like, plant markers. I don't really know. This might end up being very strange. But I don't have any plant markers, and I thought, well, I have a bunch of soda cans, so let's see what happens. I wish that they looked as good on camera as they do in person, because in person, this rainbow hollow, like especially when I took them outside to look at them in the sun, it's just like, bam, it's so beautiful. But on camera, it's looking kind of like dirt a little bit, which I guess whatever, it's gonna go in the garden, so who cares? But I wish you could see. It's it's really beautiful. They might look a little strange sitting in the garden, like because they're so obviously soda cans, but it was a quick, easy thing to do, so I'm pretty excited about it. Uh-oh. Gosh, I'm hitting them. Oh, thank you. I hope that they're gonna turn out. I'm just adding, oh my gosh, this one has a ton of bubbles. I'm just gonna add just the littlest bit. Oh, sorry. I always forget to show what I'm actually doing. Not like taping is the most exciting thing in the world, but wow, I completely lost my train of thought. Ooh, that's annoying. I just tapped the heck out of the... It's a good thing my camera's not actually there. My camera placement is, oopsies, is so bizarre. I have it sitting face down on a glass shelf. So I'm like shocked that it looks half decent. But it also keeps it out of the way so that I don't knock it or hit it or jab it with the scissors like I would have right there if it had been actually there. I finally did get a stand for it, but I almost... Ew, what is on the front of this? Is that liquid latex? Yes, it is. Gross. This stuff looks like like snot or something. It's so... Ugh. It's so gross. I don't know why I'm whining, because it's really amazing. I don't know what I would do right now, to be honest, because I pretty much use super clear exclusively to dome because I really do love it so much. But man, I don't know what I would be doing. I guess I'd be having to just mix small batches and deal with the micro bubbles. I don't know. I can't even imagine how bad they'd be though in teeny tiny batches plus this cold weather. I'm ready for summer, man. And it's like dirty. Like, why is it dirty? Is that just all the liquid latex, I wonder? That's one thing. So when you do a layer of like a doming layer or, you know, just whatever layer of epoxy on top of something, it will clean up, sort of, take care of, well, not clean up, it'll disguise a lot. Oh my gosh, I'm getting pieces of towel. Okay, I should get a wet one. I'm like getting pieces stuck in it. It will disguise, you know, cracks, bubbles, unless you've painted them like I have here. Oops, that's liquid latex. But what it won't cover up is like dirt splotches, if you've accidentally gotten a fingerprint, you know, in before it finished curing, you know, any debris and stuff, it just encases it and like honestly kind of highlights it, if anything. So whatever this is, whatever mess is happening here is not going to be disguised by this new layer. So let me actually finish taping this other one and then I'll actually clean that one because gosh, I really messed up. There are just bubbles everywhere. How did this happen? I wonder if I forgot to babysit these when we were pouring them. Well, I guess I must have. So usually what I'll do is I'll pour, well, not usually, I mean, I guess always unless I've forgotten. What I'll do is I'll pour into the molds and then I'll move on and pour into the next molds and move on, just keep moving on. You know, I don't like to sit there and manipulate in the one mold for very long. You know, I see like a lot of times people will be moving the epoxy around to the edges and, you know, making sure it's all leveled around, and that might be necessary for some people, but if you're using a self-leveling epoxy, it's way better to not do that. It's way better to just pour it and move on to something else. Oops, sorry. And then come back to that piece. You know, say 10, 20 minutes later and check on it then, because a lot of the issues that you would have taken time on will have resolved themselves. themselves. Growing what you can, really? Oh my gosh. You know what's funny? So, last summer or two summer, whenever COVID happened, so I've always had a garden, even though most of my life I've lived in a city, but and like usually in the small spaces, with like porches and stuff, but everywhere I've ever lived, I've always had a garden. I've been really fortunate to live a lot of places that had like a rooftop. And nobody ever wants to go on a rooftop in Atlanta. So I pretty much had like the roof to myself to do what I wanted. Most of the places I've lived, which has been really nice, or, I've always had cats. So it's always been a priority to have some kind of outdoor space, even if it was tiny, like a little porch or something. I think the one place I lived where I didn't have that, they had like a communal rooftop. Well, I say communal, but it was just a rooftop where I had access to. It wasn't really, I don't even know if I was allowed to be doing that up there. But anyway, all of that is to say, I've always had a garden. And so when COVID happened, I actually looked up the prices of like making extras to sell, thinking, I don't know, that just seemed like, the world was ending and they were like good, it was a good idea to like consider avenues like that. And grocery prices, like at that time anyway, they were so cheap that I was like, I don't even know if this is worth the time. The time and effort. By the time you grow everything, spend time in a market, the whole thing, I just don't know that people are willing to spend what it was worth to do. Now they might though, right? Or at the very least, it's better to grow more of your own stuff. I I'm kind of boring when it comes to the stuff that I grow, to be honest though. Like I pretty much almost exclusively grow hot peppers. It's like the only vegetable I eat next to broccoli and like lettuce, which is really sad, I know. I think, oh, strawberries is a great idea. It's actually a super legit idea. I even have a strawberry tower that I grow, that I grow peppers in. Yeah, I feel like anything that your family like would go through a lot of is a perfect thing to grow yourself, right? Um, for sure. For sure, for sure. Like I have thought of that with potatoes here and there. Um, they are so cheap though, to be honest. Well, they were. Everything like was. They're also super cheap to like grow yourself too though. I think so are strawberries, right? Because they spread really well. And actually, hold up, strawberries come back, don't they? Is that one of those? They're also really expensive, I know. Berries in general are a really good idea to grow, actually, I think, because they are usually really expensive and I feel like a lot of them are perennials, right? Or could be, I think. Or if they're not perennials, they're easy to collect the seed. No, hold up, that's not, you don't do that. I think the plant stays, yeah? Honestly, don't know a ton about berries because I'm not healthy and I don't eat a lot of berries. I for a while there I was trying. I was mixing like there's like PB2 is like super I don't know, it's really good in shakes because you don't have to worry about like the consistency of peanut butter in my opinion. So for a long time I was trying to make banana shakes. Sorry, my nose is running because of the cold. It's so cold. Um for a while I was trying really hard to eat like smoothies with like almond milk, bananas. Oh gosh, I'm always dropping stuff down tons of flights of stairs. What was I putting in it? It was really good. PB2. Oh, and then Vega, like chocolate Vega or vanilla. Actually, I think I was mixing like all three. I think I was doing chocolate, vanilla, and peanut butter, Vega, and PB2. So okay, so it wasn't the most healthy thing ever. Anyway, and then I was trying to use this as a delivery system for berries, thinking, okay, I should eat more berries. I know that. Like I don't know what's wrong with me that it's just not my thing. So I was doing adding strawberries in, and the I really liked the taste, but the like consistency of the seeds or whatever was just so off-putting. I'm such a baby when it comes to like texture. If it's a texture I don't like, ugh. I don't know what's wrong with me. So I started doing pineapple, and I know this sounds crazy, but pineapple with all of those other ingredients like chocolate and peanut butter and vanilla, I know how it sounds. It's so good. But talk about an expensive vegetable fruit. I was just buying like giant frozen bags of it. And I don't know that it's like healthy for you the way strawberries are either. Or blackberries or whatever. That was the worst, man, when I was trying to do blackberries. The seeds were like, ugh. I'm really sorry that this is taking so long. These little holes are just out of control. I think I'm gonna give up, to be honest. And I think we'll just move on because oh my gosh, I let a lot of holes get into this stuff. So let me move this because this has been sitting in my eyes and it's like blinding me with lime. Okay, and oh my god, it's so cold that oh, stop running nose. I'm such a baby about the cold. Pineapple. Wait, what about holy? Wait, what? Oh, like with holes. Up here, Rocky. It's okay. Up here, hon. It's okay. I'm so sorry. My cat is screaming. Hey, sweetie. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be yelling at her one the mic right here. Yeah, the holes. It's funny because I read it as like holy, like oh, and I knew that wasn't right, but it made me giggle, and then I just couldn't think past it. It's okay, Rocky. She does not want to be up here. Hey, what are we yelling about? You saw me. Hi. Hello. What's wrong? I'm not coming down right now. I'm really sorry. I know that's so annoying. She was asleep and sweet and wonderful, and now she's screaming. Oh my God. These cats are so sweet, but like as they age, they have become so like needy, which is fine. You know, I don't mind, except like exactly right this moment is a little inconvenient. Hey, 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 it's okay. It's okay. I'm sorry. I know that's so annoying when I talk to her, but if I don't, she gets so stressed out that she starts just throwing up everywhere. Um, it's so bizarre because she's extremely independent, or her whole life she's been really independent. But all of a sudden, in the last couple of years, the last year, it's okay. Okay, good. Okay, I'm so sorry. My nose itches, and I chose a bad day to wear a nose ring. I'm so sorry. I know that's so annoying. Okay, let's mix up some epoxy and get to doming really quick because I want to do a bright color pour after this, and I want us to have enough time to do that. Okay, okay. And I'll explain while we're stirring so that I don't waste too much time. I'm just gonna move these over for us to stir so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm so disorganized in a lot of ways, but I did remember to have all my stuff out here and ready this time, so at least we're good there. So, oops, that's Perpy. We're using my second favorite. My second favorite epoxy. But I have been using it to dome with during these cold winter months because, oh, we've gone on about this, but for anyone who hasn't heard, I don't like, I don't like the workability of super clear in these cold months, which, I do fully expect it to not be so great in these colder temperatures. You know, that is why I put my workstation up on the roof, is because I had picked out early on, before I even started working with epoxy, I did a ton of research into what epoxy I wanted to use because I really, really, really wanted to find one and stick with it and just really learn everything there was to learn about it. And like, not, necessarily to like forever and ever I'm married to this epoxy or whatever, but like I wanted to learn epoxy with just the one, so that like if I made a mistake, if something bad happened, whatever, I could learn what I was doing wrong and fix it, versus if I was constantly switching from different kinds of epoxies, different brands, even honestly, even different types of epoxy within the same brand, the same company, could be difficult, because they are all so different, and not just so different from one another, but not everything, so many things can affect the workability, the cure time, all that, like your temperature, your humidity, just so many things. So I wanted to stick with one. And I've forgotten why I went on that tangent. Oh, and so when I looked up super clear and I decided on super clear, one thing I knew very well about it was that it was not going to be a good choice for cold weather. So that is why I moved myself up onto the roof, and I did know that I would probably in the wintertime potentially run into some issues, which is why I started testing the epoxy resin store out. I started testing this out at the end of the summer, beginning of fall, sort of anticipating that I might run into some workability issues with super clear. And I really didn't notice any workability issues with super clear until about February, right into the heart of winter and so that's why, anyway, that's why I think it was the temperature, the cold. So I'm gonna try to find the cleanest stick possible, but these are all so dirty. um, the only reason for that is, of course, when you're doming and you're not putting anything at all in it, when it's gonna be just perfectly clear, you just have potential issues, right? Of like anything that's on this stick might. Oh my gosh, I just poured it over the edge. I hope that won't cause an issue with the amount. This looks thin like part B, and I think I might have put the tiniest bit too much part B in, so maybe that actually worked out super well. I get so nervous about the ratios with this stuff because I haven't run into an issue with it just yet. Well, I did with that tray, but that was a totally separate issue. That wasn't that was just my brain jumping out of my head, so not quite the same thing as like, an oops where I don't fully understand what I did wrong. I know very fully that I was stupid. So, alrighty. Yeah, but the poor Srock, I don't know. I don't know why she's such a whiny. I I do think I know why. I do think she lost her brother a few months ago, and I think she's just kind of lonely. And so she always needs to know, because she's searching around. She just always needs to, it's okay. It's okay. She just always needs to know where her buddies are and like needs to be near them, but she hates the roof. Hates it up here. Unless she can go outside. She does love going outside. But she's a bit of a daredevil, so it scares me if she's out on the roof without me monitoring her. She's not stupid, but you never know if they might lose their footing or something, especially as they get a bit older. So, I never finished this thought, did I? I'm sorry. I can't remember if I did. Anyway, we're using epoxy resin store because it is a thinner viscosity, and so I'm able to have some better workability with it in these cold temperatures. Like right now it's 78, which I know that doesn't sound cold, but it really is for super clear, because super clear is not meant for um teeny tiny items. If you did, okay, I think you got it. I just ramble sometimes and I don't have any idea if I finished a thought. So I think probably what I end up doing a lot is I probably end up just repeating myself a lot. Maybe I get through something 8/10 of the way, and then we start over from scratch, and then we get 9/10 of the way. And I don't know. I've got to get better at keeping my train of thought though, so that eventually, if I can get my computer to run an editing software without crashing, what I would really, really love to do is be able to chop up little tiny bits, just a quick 3 to 5 minute video here and there, um, of like more instructional, helpful stuff, so that someone doesn't have to sit through 3 hours of stream, to get like a little nugget of information here and there and stuff like that. The train. Wait, what do you mean the train always leaves without you? Oh, you don't mean literally. My dude, my brain is absolutely not. I don't know where it is. It's not in here. Oh, can I blame the weather or um oh man, I don't know. And I've just signed up for an absolute butt ton of pop-up vendor events. So my schedule is about to get a little bit nuts, and I do really well juggling lots of balls. You know what I mean? I I think, it's sort of like the kind of ADD way of doing things is like I do better when I have a lot of things in motion, a lot of things sort of halfway done. But when one of those things is being a person, like going outside and like talking to people, um, I don't know, man, it just drains me. It's just so draining. It's not that I don't enjoy it, it's just that it's like it just takes so much more energy from me than most other things do. I don't think I've been stirring well enough because we are not mixed and we're 5 minutes in, so sorry about that. I don't know. I think I'm just talking too much and not stirring fast enough. So what I'm gonna do is when this is finally mixed, let it sit and get these bubbles out. What I'm doing right now is just scraping all the sides. This is one thing that you're going to hear people say all the time is do not scrape the sides of your cup when you're pouring. But I really, really like to take the sort of opposite approach of scrape it when you're stirring. Like everything, like the stick right here, scrape both sides, all four sides really. Scrape the bottom of the cup and then all sides, top and bottom, right? Like the whole way around. Scrape it while you're stirring, and then you don't have to worry about having potential like unmixed bits on the sides or the bottom or on your stick or whatever. I much, much, much prefer that method, even though it does introduce more bubbles. I mean, first off, probably not that many more, right? You're just stirring a bit more thoroughly. But also then you don't waste that last like 10 to 20 milliliters in the cup. You can use it. So I would always suggest to definitely scrape the sides while you're stirring, and then you can use it all. We still have some ribbons in here. Man, I've really been slacking on this stir. Yeah, so the reason people say don't scrape the sides while pouring is because I think the concern is that you haven't mixed it well enough. And so you're going to accidentally get pieces into like bits of the liquid that are not fully mixed in to your piece, and that will not cure if it's not fully mixed. Like, see right here, there's like just the littlest ribbons. I don't know if you can see them, they're so small at this point, but just a littlest bit of cloudiness, that tells me that there is part A or part B in here right now that isn't fully mixed, and that won't cure. So that's how people end up. A lot of the times you'll see people with bendy resin, and it's just like the slightest bit bendy. One of the main culprits of that is this right here. It's not stirring thoroughly enough. There are other reasons too, but I would say that's probably the main reason, next to like maybe using too much pigment. I'm not sure which one of those is like a bigger culprit, but they're both right up there. So yeah, that's like pretty much the standard advice, is don't scrape the sides of your cup. But I so strongly disagree with that, because I really think you should be doing it at this stage. Now, I did recently, we did a pour, I think it was last week, where I was just kind of yapping and not paying attention, and then we mixed in the color, and then I started pouring, and then toward the end of the pour, I was like, shoot, you guys, I don't know if I fully mixed that. Like, do you guys remember? Did we actually wait the full 5 minutes? Did we actually check for it was actually this epoxy too, so I would be able to see like those ribbons if it wasn't mixed. And I for the life of me, I could not remember. So I was like, you know what, you guys, let's not. We're not gonna scrape the sides. We're not gonna finish this cup. So what I did was I left like 10 to 20 milliliters in that cup, and I didn't scrape the edges and I didn't scrape the bottom. And it was a really good thing that I didn't, because the reason I couldn't remember doing it is that I didn't do it. So I I had messed up. I had not thoroughly made sure that it was stirred. So in that case, it was a really good thing that I did not scrape the edges and sides and bottom and all of that when I was pouring, because I had not done a good job during stirring. So I guess if you're like in a hurry, if there's some reason why you're like, listen, I'm just not going to be able to stir that thoroughly, like maybe you're going for a crystal clear, to be honest, I cannot think of like a super legitimate reason why you wouldn't. But not to say it isn't out there, right? So like, let's just assume there's a super legitimate reason why you just can't stir to that thoroughness. One, I would say, yikes. I hope, that's still a risk. Like, the piece could still, even if you don't scrape the edges and sides, you could still have an issue with curing because you haven't stirred it thoroughly enough. But I guess, yeah, I guess if for some reason, if you're in that boat, or like me, right, when that one day when I was like, shoot, I just can't remember if I messed this up or not, then I mean, you still have a risk of the whole batch being messed up, though, is the thing. And I was really lucky that the whole batch was not messed up. It was just the remnants left that I didn't scrape off. But I just don't see why you wouldn't just do it on the front end and be done with it, and then you can use everything that's in the cup. And I'm just gonna hit it with just the littlest bit of heat to get the bubbles that came up, and then we're gonna let the rest keep coming while we figure out what to do. So I want to start with some small things. In fact, while we're waiting for bubbles to come up, I'm gonna go ahead and do these skulls, because these poor skulls have been sitting here for like 2 weeks, and I just straight up keep forgetting about them. So we're just gonna go ahead and put just the tiniest bit. So this is so weird. I've never done hair bows before, or not really hair bows, but hairpins. And so I'm trying these out for the first time, and they're little skulls, which I love so much. But it's so bizarre. So what I did was I waited until these were cured about, I want to say like 3 to 4 hours. Oh no, I'm sorry. Did I wait that long? Hold on. I may not have waited that long. It might have been at like the 1 hour mark. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so what happened was I didn't wait that long. I waited, it was still gooey basically, right? The epoxy. And I put these little pins on the mold, and here I can show you what I mean, because this is like not gonna make any sense unless I show it to you. So this is the skull mold right here. And since it's a flat back skull, Excuse me. In fact, we got to make a bunch of these because I just sold out. Well, I almost sold out. I have like 2 pairs left after the last market, which is so great. Like, I love that this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, things is the little skull studs. So I'm very happy people like them, but we've got to make more. So anyway, because they have this flat back, they work really, really, really great for making magnets and pins and studs and all that kind of stuff. And so I thought, oh, well, I'll just put one of these hairpins across the back. I don't have to wait for like the 6 hour mark or whatever. And it turned out I really should have because I did not expect this, but what happened was, excuse me, what happened was when I put this hairpin on there, the epoxy like climbed it. It was like the wildest thing. As it cured, you know, kind of like when you pour into anything at all, any mold, it sucks in. That's what happened. So it even though these aren't I don't know, it was so strange. It sucked in and then it like attached up to the hairpin. I don't know how, if I would show you, but of course I've just put epoxy on them, so I can't turn it over to show you. But basically it's coating the hairpin, which I actually love. I think that's actually super, super cool. So instead of just being straight silver, these little areas that show are actually the color of the skull. So they're more of a steely, shimmery color. So I actually think it's really awesome that it did that. But what it did was it left them sucked in on the back instead of flat. And so I was wearing them as like testers for a while and I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I thought, you know, let's just test out filling them, doming them. Excuse me, sorry. And we'll just see if it makes a big difference, if they look better or worse. And I do think it'll make them more secure, because the epoxy will now be like over the edge. Ooh, I hope I didn't put too much to where it's in the pin. That would, oof, I don't think I did. But you know, adding a bit more epoxy to where it's kind of coming up and over the edges of the hairpin will just make it even more secure, I think. So if this is a pretty easy process, then I'll start doing it to all of them going forward. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of the small ones first, and then we'll finish up the batch with the, oops, we didn't flip these guys over. And then we'll finish up the batch with the large things. I always like to work small to large because what I do is I put small, I'm just gonna try to get rid of this hole because if the epoxy can't go through there, it's gonna bubble up in there. I had that happen on one of the last ones. Such a stupid mistake, but I just didn't think about it. I always like to work, this might still be an issue, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm still testing out what I should and shouldn't do, what I can and can't do with liquid latex. So I always like to work small to large because what we do is get it down on the small pieces first, and then it self-levels. Now, this is not as true with the epoxy resin store as it is with super clear, but I still do follow the same method. We just have just a little bit of liquid latex still on there. Let's see. So I'm always leaning over this railing. Probably, I gotta probably move this, but oh well. So what was I saying? Oh, I moved from small to large. I just think it works better that way. So normally I would grab, well, maybe I will. I was gonna say, I've been trying to find ways around using, to avoid using these because I just think it's a little bit wasteful. Well, I mean, it's a lot wasteful. I have not found a way to reuse this. I haven't found, sorry, I'm always dropping stuff. I haven't found a way to reuse these, and I've had people say that they do reuse these. I have yet to figure out how. I've tried so hard. We're gonna go ahead and use it today because I don't want to risk messing up. I think we could just scoop, like just use something like this and just scoop it on here, but I don't know, it makes me nervous, you know? It just makes me nervous. So, I don't know. I would like a better tool in general, to be honest. So, this will also be a bit quicker, hopefully. I don't know. Sometimes this isn't quicker at all because it takes so long to actually suck the epoxy up, but I want to try to make this as quick as possible so that we can go moving on to doing a color pour. I really want to do a 2-color pour, which is not something I do very often. I usually do maybe like black and white, clear plus a color is like usually my go-to. Or black in another color, or white in another color, you know. Um, so I don't know. Um, I'm a little scared about it, but I think what we're gonna do while that's I could pour at the same time that's trying to pull up, but I think we're gonna do these 2 colors maybe. It's like so what is this, like 80s or 70s? Oh, what was that old show, that 70s show? It kind of makes me think of that. I don't know. Um, but the reason is because I kind of want to try to make some oranges. I haven't made oranges yet. Oh, that would make you nervous? Yeah, I don't. I've dropped so many things down, like 1,000 flights of stairs, that I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna drop something that like I really can't be dropping down flights of stairs. But it's the only place I got, you know. I I will. I won't go on my normal PPE tangent, I promise. But that is one thing that always makes me a little bit sad whenever people go crazy about PPE and like they're like very like aggressive about it's so dangerous if you're not wearing, you know, but they don't I don't think that they realize that there's a ton of other things that you got to be doing too. You know, like the type of epoxy you're using is super important. The place that you're working in is, I would argue, like the most important. So that's why I chose the roof, and it most definitely has its major downsides being up here on the roof, but I think it's by far the safest place. So that was priority number one, was safety, well, and just ability to work it all. So I had decided between either the roof or the garage. And I do think that the roof is actually safer because I have good airflow up here versus the garage. I basically would have to be working with the door open all the time. And even then, it's still not good ventilation, you know, like I don't know why people always think of garages as being good ventilation, I guess because you have the big door there, but there's no airflow. You know, I'd just be sitting in the back of the garage. That'd be the only place I could do it. I'd just be sitting there, sitting in epoxy fumes. Like they would not be going anywhere. Um, so, oh hey Bon, what's going on? Springtime begs for color. I know. I'm such a boring. I'm such like a. I love the color black. I love black and gold, black and white, black and clear, and um, I've started doing black with other colors, and I realized that's still not springy. So I did a green. I did a lime green pour recently that everyone is like freaking out over. That's I'm exaggerating a bit, but everyone was really excited about. So I was like, oh, okay, I see. So we don't love my normal black and gold as much, huh? We want color. The market I went to recently was kind of a dud. I think because it freaking snowed here. Like what the actual so, you know, honestly, I didn't even want to leave my house. Like I'm shocked anybody came to the market at all. But the people who did, like they bought up basically all of my skulls and my green and yellow collection. So I was like, oh, it's springtime, huh? It's green and yellow time already. And so I want to do orange. I do love orange a lot. And I love oranges. And so I really want to make some oranges with these new citrus molds that I have. Um, Yeah, I think you're right, Bun. So like I have, yeah, yeah, I mostly wear black and, um, but I see, the thing is I do like bright colors. I, I mean, my hair is pretty bright. Actually, it's funny, my hair has almost always been bright like my whole life. Like, oh, that's gonna be a problem. Whoopsies. I probably should have been quicker to save him, but to be honest, I didn't want to ruin that tray. Hmm. Hey, we survived. That's shocking. I don't think we got any epoxy inside there at all. Dang, we got lucky as heck. Okay. Yeah, so like I don't know. I just gotta get braver about working with color. I think that's all it is. Because I really like bright colors. Like I love this bright green, even this purple. I've never really been much of a purple person. I'm really digging this. Oh, you can't actually see it because I'm not showing it to you. Sorry. I didn't look at what time we started this, so I'm getting nervous that I need to hurry. I think I do need to hurry. Luckily, we have some big trays to finish up with, so the second that this stuff becomes not so fun to work with, we're just gonna throw it in trays. So that will make it a lot easier. The problem is that this epoxy, it's not as good as super clear at like self-leveling when I'm doming. It's so weird. It self-levels fine in a mold, but which I guess it makes sense since it's not a doming epoxy, it's not gonna act the same way, but I don't know, it just like sticks in all different areas. It's so bizarre. So I want to get it down at least on these small items here pretty quick so that it has the best chance it can of self-leveling without me having to come back and I mean I'm probably gonna have to come back and manipulate it a bit because that's just how it is with this epoxy, but oh my gosh, and I went over the edge. It's the problem with super clear. If I did what I did just there, it would like bounce back. But of course with this stuff it just flops right over the side. I hope that won't be ugly because I don't think we liquid latex this side right there. Oh well. Colors are colorful. True. I just, I think it's just that I'm afraid because I work mostly with micas and I love working with micas, but I will say at least the ones that I have and I suspect it's probably because I'm using old makeup and stuff and it's just you never know what you're gonna get. I haven't like bought a special color mica, so I do assume that those would be quite different, right? But the micas that I've been using currently that are colorful, they're so hit or miss on whether I'm gonna like them, how much of it I need to use to make it look pretty. I'm still kind of testing out. So even though I really, really like doing that, because, I'm reusing something that would otherwise go in a landfill, I do kind of think that I'm gonna start doing the paints pretty close to exclusively for when I need a color and when I need it to be what I need it to be. Like yeah, so Bun, that's what I'm gonna start doing the paint, I think. If I need to do something like for a custom that someone wants or something I need to be able to make multiples of, I'm gonna start using paint. Um, I think pretty much exclusively because I've been working with it for a while now to where I think I'm fairly comfortable with the amounts to use and everything, and I'm really liking it. It's crazy how different you can get the batch to look like between looking limey and like more pastelly with by just using the tiniest difference of paint. Like it's wild. So I do need to get a better system of measuring it, to be honest, because I've just been kind of dropping a little bit on a stick, and I think that's fine. I'm kind of eyeballing it, but since I think that the difference is so wild between just the tiniest bit difference in amount. Did that sentence make sense? I don't know. Anyway, just the tiniest difference can make something go from like glassy and limey looking, limey, neon-y is what I meant to say. Sort of glassy and neon to just adding just a little bit more paint makes something look more pastel and then more bold. So I am still figuring out where that exact line is. And it seems to be like not much of a difference between the amounts from one to the next. But I like that it is consistent. I know what to expect when I pull out the same color of paint always, right? I do need to test out mixing just the tiniest bit of color with white because I think that that could give some like pretty, what's the is it like Easter where it's like all pastellies and stuff? Sort of could give a really cool look like that. I think, which isn't something I tend to do a lot. Like I kind of prefer the glassy look and like the neon-y. I keep saying lime. It's because my most recent batch of neon was lime. But I sort of prefer that look, I think, to pastels, but people really dig pastels too. So, in fact, these little death tarots ended up a lot more pastel-y than I expected, but they're really pretty. This isn't quite what they look like, to be honest, because they have the yellow liquid latex on the back. So they look a little funky. This isn't quite what they look like when we pull the latex off. All right, I think we've done all of the little ones. I don't think I added enough to this cat or fox or whatever it is. So I'm gonna add just the tiniest bit more to him, and then we're gonna just dunk this stuff in the rest and be done with doming. Well, not really. We're gonna check. We gotta come back and babysit them, but that won't take too long. Oh, I get so scared using this epoxy on these edges like this. I should just get used to the fact it's just gonna flow over. It's okay. It's all right. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, bud, I've been using a non-doming epoxy pretty frequently lately because of the cold. Because super clear is not digging these temperatures right now. It's 80 degrees right now. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly at what temperature is maybe too cold for super clear, but it's definitely not 80. I'm thinking it's going to be closer to like 90. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think when the temperature gets back to about 90, I'll try a super clear dome and see how that goes. I hope 90 will work because I don't want it to be too much higher than that because that really cuts down the number of months I'll be able to use it. 90 would at least get me most of the months. Okay, sorry. So what I'm doming with right now currently is the Epoxy Resin store. It's not a doming epoxy. It's not a what is it actually? I don't even remember. This is just like their main line. I don't even know what it says it's used for. It's not an art resin. It's just premium clear. Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know. I think that this is promoted for casting. I think. I'm pretty sure it's a casting resin. Oh my gosh, I grabbed two shelves and that was so stupid. I don't know how to put them down. Just a sec while I figure this out. Something's wrong with this guy's face. I don't think I got enough on him. What is wrong with his face? Oh, you know what? My light isn't shining. There we go. That's better. My light was turned away. I didn't get any on his face at all. How did that happen? Wait, what? Okay, that was a bit weird. Okay, so let me fix this one on the floor because my floor is not level, so I gotta get it up quick. All right, we'll babysit those at the very end, but for right now, we're just gonna dunk the rest of this epoxy into. Oh, I should not have done what I just did right there. Do you see what I just did? I just threw the epoxy right over the edges that have little, what am I trying to say? Areas that trap air. And you should never pour in an area that traps air because, you know, it'll trap air. There we go. That was so stupid of me. Dumb, dumb, dumb. And I'm sure that'll come out on its own, but I'm just going to hit it quick because if I forget, that's going to be so ugly. That giant air bubble. All right. And, oh, you know what? I was going to do like more glitter into these garden things. I wasn't going to do just clear, I don't think. Yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and do these trays. And with these trays, I always try really hard to pour in one area and let them self-level because these lines will trap air bubbles like crazy. They'll still do it regardless. But especially if I pour it everywhere, it's a lot more likely to trap air. So, which isn't a huge deal. We can come through with heat, but I'd rather avoid bubbles as much as possible on the front end to not have to then babysit them as much on the back end, you know? So, oh wait, okay, so wait, what, but Bun is saying you just bought Epoxy Resin store, but someone told you it makes brittle pieces? Really? So I will say, my main criteria, like I have a list of things that I like absolutely require of my epoxy, just for my own personal, just my own personal requirements, like what I want out of epoxy. And the main thing is non-toxic, but like this second main thing is probably non-yellowing. The third on my list is super, super, super sturdy. So when I picked Epoxy Resin Store, I picked it with that in mind, thinking that it was going to be stronger and sturdier and more scratch resistant than others. So if that's not true, then that concerns me. I will say though that I have been using what I've been doing for the past, let's see, I think I started testing out Epoxy Resin Store in like July or August, I want to say. I think that's about right. And so I've made a ton, and what I do is I use it for main pours, and then I dome with super clear. That's like my standard tip, but even though we're doming with Epoxy Resin Store today, typically what I do is I do an initial pour with Epoxy Resin Store, and then I dome with super clear. So I've been making pieces with this epoxy for quite a long time, and I've been testing, you know, I always test out. I did a bunch of tests when I first started using this to make sure I really liked it, because I'm already on my second batch of it. I've already bought it now twice. I have never seen a single issue with durability at all. I'm actually shocked to hear someone say that. So do you know, Bun, what they're making with it by any chance? So because this is not, it's not a an epoxy that's meant for jewelry making. It's meant for, like, even though it didn't say on the thing, I remember when I researched it, I was like, okay, well, it's not an art resin, but I haven't found an art resin that I like, and that's the reason, is because they don't tend to have that going for themselves. They don't tend to be very sturdy. They don't tend to be scratch resistant or very strong or very like break resistant. Like I'm gonna sound like I'm joking right now, but I literally throw my earrings around my house. Like literally, I literally throw my test pairs around. Sometimes by accident, but intentionally a lot, because I want them to be that strong. I want to be able to tell someone that you can be a little bit rough with them. because I mean, obviously you always want to treat your jewelry well, right? Like you don't want to be intentionally rough on your jewelry, but like we live in a world where like you can't quite expect that, you know? So like I accidentally drop my jewelry all the time. You know, it accidentally goes flying more often than I'd like to admit. You know, so it's a huge priority of mine, and I test out test my now I will say I do wonder if because I dome with super clear, like maybe that's adding more durability than I realize. Like maybe if I didn't, now I do have pieces though that I don't dome. So maybe you know what I'll do, Bun? I'm gonna start throwing around some of my pieces that are not domed and see. But I'd be very, very curious to know. Oh, you said they make jewelry, wall hangings, shelves. Oh gosh, okay. I'm a little bit curious. Oh, what I'm doing right now, by the way, is I'm just like forcing this to self level because I don't really want to pour more if I don't have to. Because I like to keep these trays as thin as possible. Because even though I don't particularly love it or recommend it, a lot of people buy these to use as ashtrays. And I want to make sure that it's nice and as deep as possible for them. All right, so I don't like to make it too thick. If someone's just using this for rings or jewelry or whatever, I don't know that the depth will matter as much. Although, I mean, maybe it does matter to everyone. I don't know. Same with this guy. He's going to be a shaker. The only reason I added another layer here is just to protect the paint layer. Which, to be honest, might be totally silly and just totally stupid. I don't know. But we've done it. I've been doing it. In the meantime, while I'm too afraid to make real shakers, I've just been making the bottom pieces. Oh my gosh, is there a hair in there? I think oh no, this is the one that's on the back, the back side. I'm gonna have to, not dome, but like, I'm gonna have to do a coat on the back side of her and like glitter or something to disguise that. It's so annoying. Or she'll just be mine to keep. Maybe that's what it'll be. Oh man. But is there a bubble in there? We don't have to worry as much with heat as far as like ruining a mold, obviously. But I still don't like to use too much heat at this stage because even though it's a non-toxic epoxy, burning anything is a bad idea, right? Burning anything can create fumes. So I try to avoid using too much heat. So like, do you see these are the areas where it's collecting? This is what I was saying earlier about these little lines collect air bubbles. But they're easy to pull out, and then we'll just hit it with heat to get out the ones that don't burst on their own. Excuse me. Oh, you do the same thing, Bon, with shakers? That makes me feel better. Because like I do feel like intuitively that makes sense, right? That when you have oil or water or whatever inside the shaker, that even if it doesn't happen immediately, I feel like over time it will wear the paint. And maybe it's silly of me, but I just absolutely hate the thought of someone buying something and really liking it and like actually getting their use out of it, and then like a few months later it just looks like shit. You know what I mean? Like it just terrifies me. I just hate that. That's one of the reasons why I when I make something new for the first time, I test it myself forever, like for like honestly months before, which means I need to hurry up and get a shaker made so that I can go ahead and test them. Maybe I'll do a shaker day one of these days. Maybe I'll make you guys hang out with me while I figure out shakers. um, I've actually been considering changing my days up just a little bit to, ooh, I've left a little bit of epoxy in the bottom. We should get rid of that. What haven't we done? I'm not doing these because I want to kind of do glitter or something in them, I think. Let's see. I don't know if it's quite enough to put on here, but maybe we'll, oh, you know what? Let's check this lady first. Make sure she has actually enough before I go and use the rest of the cup up. I totally forgot what I was saying, you guys. Oh, I remember. Um, I think I might change, I don't know. I think my schedule, I might change it to be, I don't think this is enough epoxy in here. I think I might change it to be, how many times am I going to say that sentence? To be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I think. And maybe instead of doing a pour or a dome on Friday, do assembly instead. I've kind of always thought that assembly might be a little bit boring to watch, and I'm still not sure. But maybe we could like demold. I feel like people always do like to see demolds. Um, do like a little bit of demolding, a little bit of painting, and then like final assembly on a Friday. Only because I was telling Gothic earlier, I think, I don't remember, that I was doing a bunch of markets. Or I'm sorry, I have scheduled a bunch of markets, and I'm kind of terrified about how busy my schedule is about to get. And mostly they're on the weekends, so if we, maybe that'll like keep me honest if we assemble together. On Fridays, I don't know. This epoxy is too cold. It is, even this stuff, it is too cold up here. So I'm just gonna pour extra, even though I don't really want it to be too thick, but I don't want to stand here all day trying to trying to get the rest of it out either. So um see, it's just not moving like at all. This is what happens with this epoxy. When it starts to hit its end of workability time, it goes from being like really easy to work with to just being impossible. It just doesn't move at all. It's so funny. It's like a light switch goes off and it's just like, nope, we're done now. Which is fine. I'm getting used to that. It's not a big deal. I should do a better job of timing it. Oh, thank you, Gothic. I think you're the reason we made this purple girl right here. I'm pretty sure that you suggested that we do purple. Purple scares me a little bit, but you know what? It looks so good with black, right? I don't know. I do kind of wish that we'd have done like maybe a brighter, like hotter purple. And I think it was just, I think if I put more in, a little bit more paint, but you know, I'm still kind of afraid of that at this point. But I think if I had just put just a little bit more paint in, I think it would have gotten like bolder, brighter, sort of a purple. Oh, don't mind me just reaching over this balcony again. I'm gonna launch myself off one day. Ooh, I actually shouldn't joke about that. That's really bad. It's really a lot of stairs. All right, what are we gonna do with this last teeny tiny bit? I guess we will just put it in this last one. And though I kind of hate that. Oh well. I hate to put such a small amount that at this point of workability too, it might not actually self-level, so it might end up with like a weird texture, but the rocks are already giving us a pretty weird texture. So this right here is the point at which if you are not sure that you stirred well, like if you're not sure that you'll take this one. She does look so good, right? Um, if you're not sure at this point that you did fully stir and like scrape the sides of your cup, I would say stop right now, right? But since I'm really confident that we did, we're gonna use every last drop we can. Honestly, if you're not sure that you scraped the sides well, you probably want it to stop before that. Um, maybe not even use the rest of this cup at all, to be honest, where it was at. But we stirred forever and ever. I know because I was yapping and it took forever to hang on your wall. Yeah, you know what's so funny? I wish I had, oh my gosh, I wish I had this example up here with me. But these trays are sometimes, they're sometimes a little bit difficult to make them look really, really just as beautiful on the front side as the back side. Like you'll see this girl right here, she is not going to look like this at all. You know, I'm slowly starting to get a feel for what the epoxy looks like when it lays down on the silicone. And it depends too whether you're using paint or mica, I've noticed, or probably other pigments too. Definitely other pigments too, but like for example, I've noticed that the mica, it just sticks. Like so wherever I pour this mica, I think we talked about this on the last stream actually, that I showed you that I was like, you know, this stream of white, I forget who it was. You know what? It was this purple girl. So the white was like totally blocked out on the back at one point by the other colors. But I was like, it's okay. It's a mica. It's going to hold its own. I was less sure about the paint. The paint does kind of, it actually tends to like blur a bit, which I really like. I'm kind of really digging how they look. But see, do you see like the line between the micas is much more straight? Whereas the line between the mica and the paint is much more blurred. So if I was smart, I would probably try to figure this out and try to like always have mica next to paint actually, because it would always give that look. Although I like the harsher lines too. But you can kind of see through there that I did this in a little bit thicker of a pour. So the black, you can see actually, if I were to turn this over, which I'm not because we just filled it with epoxy, but if I were to turn this over, the black would look quite a bit bigger, like a larger band, because I poured it second and it sat over on top of the white. So the back side of this looks very, very, very different. Anyway, all that is just to say it looks very different front to back. So I did a piece once that I think I've told this story, so I won't go through it again, but the short version is I messed up. And I thought I was going to have a beautiful rocky look just like this with her hair all rocky. But I had put down an initial top layer and it was too opaque. And you couldn't see the hair, the rocks at all. But the back side is beautiful. So it's actually really funny. I've actually considered converting that one into a wall hanging for that reason, because the front side is fine. I mean, it's mostly just like kind of a white color with some like I think pink glitter. Like it's very basic looking. And then her earring is cute. Like I think she has like a peppermint earring or something. So that's cute. But it doesn't have that like wow factor like I was going for. It doesn't have you know, you can't see the rocks at all, but the back, I mean, the back is just, and it's not just the rocks, like the back has this whole feathering effect look going on. It's so beautiful. So I need to figure out, I guess I could sand it to make it into a proper wall hanging, but ugh. Sanding and me are not buds, you guys. Not at all. Yeah, I think you're right about wall hangings. I think that I've got to think of Bun was having this issue recently actually. I don't know if she's still around or not, but of have like where to find a good chain to hang them with. You probably don't have to worry quite as much about like tarnish, you know, because I doubt, well, I mean, or do you? Because maybe you want it to be safe if someone's hanging it on a porch. Yeah, maybe you do need to still just worry about that as much. I don't know. I'm putting that cup away so that I don't have the same mistake I had as that one day that we will never talk about again, or that I will probably talk about many times again. But okay, so the question is, do we go ahead and fill these? No, I don't want to. I want to get on with a cool pour. I do still have to fill all of these garden markers, but and the rest of her. But let's move on to a fun pour first, because I'm really excited to try out these bright colors. Yeah, you're saying you do need to worry. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you do need to worry about that. Because like for me personally, even if I was to hang something on my wall indoors, I think because I'm in the South and like a really humid area, even hanging something indoors, I might even have to worry. So yeah. Oh, you're using jewelry chain bun. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. The only thing I could see being an issue is the like it being expensive, maybe. You know what I mean? A little bit pricey, but um I guess it's not too bad. All right, so let's do something fun. Oh, you know what? Before we just make fun, we have to babysit those tiny pieces. I'm so stupid. I totally forgot. What? Okay, this one made a huge mess. Oh, but I need to get over it. Like, we know that they're gonna make a mess, right? That's the whole point of why we liquid latex them to heck, right? Oh my gosh, this bubble. Is this an old bubble? No, it just really doesn't want to come out of there. Dang, buddy, come on. So mad at myself too. I painted some of these bubbles. So by doing this doming layer, we would have totally disguised that they're there, except that I painted them. Like, what the heck were you thinking, big idiot? Just a big idiot. I mean, I didn't like straight up mean to paint them. It was just like I let the paint get into the holes. Is what really happened. But um, yeah, I think jewelry core does sound like the safe route, but I still think Bun mentioned something about maybe Lowe's the other day, and I think that that could be the ticket. In fact, I've been meaning to. I'm such a hermit that I'm I just cannot, you guys, I just cannot convince myself to go outside. Like I walk to the post office to mail packages and that's it. If Lowe's was like right there by the post office, we would be golden. But it's actually super close. I maybe that's what I need to do. It's actually so close that I could walk to both, but I hate driving. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And I really it just takes I don't know, it just takes me a lot to get out of my house. Like I can do it for packages because like obviously it's like a requirement, like I have to get a package mailed. But anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. I do think that I bet Lowe's has something. They've got to, right? Like they've totally got to have like I remember finding this really cool metal sheeting there with like decorative like punches in it, and it's meant for like vents, like old school vents and stuff. But I found like tons of different uses for that. And they've got to have stuff like that, right? Like some kind of cord that is meant for some other obscure use that would just be perfect. And I think anything that you would find at a place like Lowe's or Home Depot, I got to imagine that it would be very durable. It probably would be tarnish resistant depending on what its purpose is, right? Because they're meant to be outside, right? Typically. Like, I wonder if they have cord and chain and stuff that's meant for like DIY making your own plant hangers. Because that's something that would be like aesthetically nice to look at, right? They wouldn't want it to be too ugly. They'd want it to be weather resistant. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling. I'm gonna get my eyeballs down at the this I keep saying thinking layer level really quick to make sure I haven't missed a spot. Uh-oh, and I have. This is why we check these things before I finish pouring. This right here is one of the main reasons why you don't use a non-doming epoxy to dome with, because if you don't get enough on, it pulls. I mean, and a doming epoxy will do the same thing. I just feel like you have more leeway with it, but you really, I don't know, that's just my experience with the ones I've used anyway. But this epoxy resin store, because it's not meant to dome, I've noticed that if I don't get enough on, it just, it like creates these little pits. And they are not going to resolve themselves, and no amount of me, ooh, Oh my gosh, you guys, I almost just got this little guy in my microphone. Yikes. Oh, and now that I have it up under the light, I can see it here too. Didn't we have a spill somewhere? Yeah, I'm gonna use this spilled epoxy. Yes, great. Um, but yeah, I don't know, something about, I just feel like when you're using a doming epoxy, or I shouldn't say that in general, at least I know when I use super clear in this way, and I do assume any other doming epoxy, um, this just isn't as, it's not as critical, I don't think, that you get this perfect because it does self level over and it does hold its shape so well. Whereas this stuff, if you don't get enough on, these pits form and it pulls away and it just keeps pulling away and making them bigger and bigger as they cure. And from the edges too. That's one of the main things you'll see, and I think it's true. I think it's good advice that if you are constantly having an issue when you dome of the edges of it pulling away from the edges. Oh, see, Bun. um, oh, you already checked Lowe's. Oh, oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I think that my settings have links turned off auto. I need to change those settings to be like, I assume you can change it to where certain people can or something, right? Um, but yeah, awesome. No worries, Bun. So, do you see it's like pulling away from the sides? That's one of the things you'll hear a lot of people say, and I do think it's true. It's been true in my experience that when you if you're having this problem very regularly and you're sure you're putting enough on, what you'll hear people say, and that's a big step too, make sure you're putting enough on. And that's my issue here, is that I just haven't put enough on. But if you're sure you are putting enough on and you're still having this issue, what you'll hear people say is you just got to use a different epoxy, that it's just not an epoxy that is capable of doming. And that is one of the reasons I was really, really nervous about testing out this epoxy as a doming epoxy, since it's not what it's meant to do. I was really afraid of that it just wasn't going to be capable, that I would always have those issues with it. But fortunately, I have not found that to be true. I have found that I do absolutely need to make sure I put enough on, of course. But as long as I'm babysitting it, and I do have to babysit it quite a lot more than super clear. But as long as I babysit it properly, keep an eye on it, make sure that any pitting that's happening, that I'm fixing it, it seems to be okay. But it absolutely does take me watching it, keeping an eye on it. Uh-oh. Yes, you were getting it here too. It's just pulling away because it's just not meant for this purpose, but that's all right. I do want to look into, because now that I sort of have decided I do like this brand, I do want to look into, I thought that they had a doming um, style of epoxy that they sell. I just need to look into that, because the only reason I'm using this is because it's what I have. But now that I know that I do really like them, I'd be willing to try another one of their products. And same with Super Clear, but because Super Clear really isn't meant for any of this kind of stuff, it's like totally tabletop realm. Although, they are a big enough company, they might actually sell. Oh, I know they sell a casting resin. I think that it's their, no, they do. It's their clear cast, though. It's so expensive. Maybe it would be worth it, though. I think it's clear cast anyway. I think that's their casting resin. Still have no intention of using an art resin. I've been really, really enjoying using more casting style for the, really for the durability. Because I do not, and I'm so nervous about this now. I'm gonna start throwing around my pieces that are not domed, because I'm a little nervous that someone had a bad experience with Epoxy Resin store. So I want to kind of give some of my pieces that are not domed with super clear a little bit more. I want to rough them up a bit more and see if they can take it. Okay, sorry. I know this is annoying. I'm just gonna get my eyeballs back down there because I just cannot see at this angle. One of these days, I'm gonna get my camera set up on a proper arm that I can maybe do some doming here, and you guys can still see what I'm doing. But for now, I gotta get my eyeballs down there, so just a sec. They're looking really good. I love these little death tarot cards. They're so cute. I didn't really mean to make them like so overboard cute in these pink colors. I have a black pair that I'm obsessed with. Ooh, and you know what would be so cool is like a black and lime green pair. I think that would be super cool. I want to make more black and white, black and gray, just everything black and something, black and gold. Oh, actually, I have that on my list to do today. So hopefully let me hurry it up and move on so we can get there because I want to do a bright color. And I haven't told you guys this yet, but I kind of want to do a black and gold pour. I know that's like my norm. It's what we always do, but I kind of do want to do one just because those skulls I was talking about earlier, I have like almost completely sold out of them, and I did just make a Warlock batch recently of like purple and dark silver, which I really love, but I would like some other colors too. I usually do a brown batch, and I usually do a brown batch that I paint some detailing in black. And then I do a bronze batch, which is the black and gold dirty pour. And then I do like a midnight stars, like kind of celestial looking sort of. Which is actually probably a collection I need to remake some items that have sold out in that whole theme, the whole celestial theme, but I don't know if I want to do that today. It's kind of wintry looking too. So maybe we won't do that. Maybe we'll stick to the browns and blacks for now, but I don't know. And any other colors that you think might look cool for a skull? I guess I'm a little boring when it comes to the skulls. The craziest I got that I tend to get these days is the purple, the Warlock version. It's funny. I tried a light version because I was like, oh, we have people that I make like the Donnie Darkos and stuff. I make some of those into like cute, pretty pastels. Like the pink did really well. People really loved the pink glitter Darko bunny, which kind of makes sense because it is a bunny. So, oh wow, that flame was giant. Did you see that? Ooh, I don't know what in the heck just happened there. I wonder if there was a little piece of something that like caught fire. I think that must be what it was. Holy cow. um, all right, see ya, Gothic, you're all good. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I did a white pair of skulls, and I thought maybe people would kind of dig those. They were kind of a lighter aesthetic. Um, But it's funny, I actually had someone tell me that they were terrifying because they looked like zombies. I was like, oh, you're right. They are like kind of actually terrifying. So the one I thought was going to be cute and kind of maybe like a little bit more, I don't know, like feminine looking, a little bit lighter, ended up just being just terrifying for people. It's funny because someone did end up buying it, them. Um, I didn't make how many, I don't know. I made a very tiny batch and they bought them. And that was the reason why, is because they were like, oh, they look so creepy. They look like zombies. I was like, not what I was going for, but I'm so glad you love them. Oh, you know what? What's hiding into this? Oh, good. It's just those. Okay. Yeah, we'll do like a glitter pour at the end for them and not worry about it too much. Okay, so we got tons of fruits. I want to kind of actually use these as bits for shakers, but I kind of thought we would do it like a lemonade lady. Oh wait, hold on. Oh yeah, we have her. I was gonna say, no, we don't have a mold, but we do. Maybe a lemonade lady or a grapefruit lady. I need to be very careful working with these over epoxy. Let me get a tray down so that we don't ruin it. And then these two colors that we were talking about earlier, the orange and pink. And I'm gonna, I was gonna say I'm gonna try to push it and use a lot to make them bright, but actually I like when they look glassy too. I guess I haven't thought it through. And then I think that we're gonna use silver. Well, we're gonna use silver. And let's see. I'm just gonna put these here to cover this so that we don't risk ruining, you know, getting debris and dust and stuff in what we've just poured. And you'll notice, well, not this one here because it's not being very good here, but I try really hard to always store my molds like this. Now, by the way, like I have molds stored like in storage, like in boxes and drawers and stuff, right? And I try really hard to keep them as clean as possible and then stored upside down and flat. But for things that I'm using regularly, they stay here on this shelf, you know, things that I know I'm going to be using week to week or pretty regularly. Anything that's out here being used, I still store them this way, upside down. And that is just so that they don't get dirty while I'm shuffling things around, while I'm stirring, while I'm doing other stuff. So I try really hard. These, I didn't do that because I don't know why, I wasn't thinking. But really always should, excuse me, sorry, really always should. Definitely always should store them this way to avoid getting like hair and dirt and just stuff in them. Oh good, there's a tray I did properly. So yeah, just like that, right? What's wrong here? I think one of these was, oh yeah, one's too close to the edge. I love these little boxes, but if I get something too close to the edge, they don't latch. Which makes sense, of course, but yeah, see, I thought we would do her with like some, I don't know, fruit hair. You guys, I don't know. I don't do bright colors. I don't do like cutesy very well. Makes me a little nervous, to be honest. So, or should we give her an earring of fruit? I kind of think we should do both, like two different colors of fruit. Should we do that? Now, the only issue is we gotta think about what colors. We're gonna use these two colors, right? Which means we don't want them to get over the, like, Normally what I actually would do is I would actually use the tiniest bit of UV resin here. I would fill this with something in her hair too. And I would use just the littlest bit of UV resin just to get it stuck here. And then put everything down. What I should have done was with this initial pour, I should have done her with the initial clear pour. I'm trying really hard not to use UV resin these days, in large part because I have not been able to find a non-toxic version, and that's a really big deal for me. I really want, sorry, I got totally distracted. I really need it to be non-toxic because I'm not wearing a respirator. Oh my god, the coffee is ice cold. It's still so good though. Okay, sorry. Oh my god, side note. I got this, what is it called? Nut pods? I do, it's such a weird name, I don't know. I guess because it's made from like coconut and almond and stuff. But it's like a coconut creamer. And I just tried a new kind called butter cookie. Holy crap, like I'm not a big person, like I just drink my coffee black, like I don't put anything in my coffee, but I have this like fake coffee tea stuff that I drink at night. It's actually super good. So if you ever like want, it's weird. It's like not a coffee, but it's not a tea, but it's somewhere in between. It is technically a tea that they market as a coffee. I don't know, it's a very confusing product to me. But like I don't like the taste of tea at all. Um, at all. So you guys, I'm sorry. I'm like trying to talk and think, and I just don't know what to do about her. I think that we should put a clear layer down first. Oh no, but then the edges will be ugly. I don't know what to do. Because if we try to add these in after the colors, we run the risk of it just being very ugly. Like, I think we really do need to get it down first. I didn't think this through well enough. Hmm. Because the issue is once we get the colors sort of spread, I really like the pattern it creates naturally. And if I have to get in here and mess with these, like if these move at all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to accidentally affect the pattern um, of the colors and how they naturally sort of fall on her, which I don't want to do. So this was stupid. What I think I'm going to do is we're going to not do her right now, which is the whole reason I did these though, actually. Sad days. Dang it, man. I kind of think we should just skip doing her in full though and just do like when we do the glitter layer on those guys, yeah, and do her then. I think that's what we need to do. So should we do lemons and something different in her hair, do you think? Excuse me, sorry. We could do like cute little balls too, but I'm a little afraid of doing those without UV resin. I have got to figure out if anyone knows of a UV resin that is non-toxic. I would love, love, love to know. I haven't done like a ton of research, but the little bit of research I've done, I've not been able to find a non-toxic UV resin. Do you think this is a mistake to use this giant chunk? I think it'll look fine. What's that phrase? Famous last words. I think it'll look fine. I hate doing this with gloves because my hands don't work very well. But yeah, I think that what we're gonna do. Oh my gosh, is the train shaking my mic? I'm so sorry. It's usually not a big deal having all the trains right here, but when there are so many going by at once, it's a bit aggressive. Because it's like the regular trains, but also the subway. So it's like it gets real aggressive here every once in a while when they all decide to come through. Okay, I probably shouldn't be playing with this so much. Like they're gonna move around when we pour the resin anyway. So should we just do three there? Probably. All right. All right. I think less is better than more because then you can see the colors through it and it'll look cool. So what we're going to do is a clear layer. I think whenever we dome all of the plant markers, I do want to do the plant markers in that same rainbow hollow and silver, but I think what we can do is we can just do a quick clear pour on her first and then mix in the rainbow hollow. I think that would be fine. Now the only issue is I think that we're not going to do her hair. Shoot, I don't know. Should we? You guys, I don't really know. I haven't actually done her hair in something other than those rocks, and the rocks really hold their own just fine, so I don't need to use like a UV resin, but I haven't done her hair with anything other than rocks since I kind of stopped trying to use, UV resin as much. I just don't know. I just don't know if these are gonna stay. I don't think they will. I think that we need to just be okay with them like being more abstract and falling. As long as they don't all fall in. We should probably try to keep as many up here as possible right now because there probably a lot are gonna fall in later, huh? This might be a funny combo too, but all right, let's not worry about it too much. So, all right, we're gonna put her to the side and she's just gonna be domed. Along with them. And yes, all right. I do need to make sure to do the the other one's on that tray though. So now we don't need to do like a 4-color pour then. We could just do these 2 colors. I think that would be okay because most of these things are going to be one or the other. So this just won't be quite as exciting as we thought, but I wonder if we could do 100-100 anyway. Probably not. Yeah, probably need to do 50-50. We can always mix more. You know what we could do actually is before we mix in the color, we could actually just use this to do her ear. Let's do that actually, and we'll get her moving, and maybe, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe we'll have time to do a final 4-color pour, but I don't know that we'll have time for that. Let's just see. All right, I'll mix here for you to see, but I do need to pour it up in front of my eyeballs. So we're going to do 100 and then just split it into 50-50 for these 2 colors is how we're going to do this. Oh, I didn't finish talking about that tea. It's not the most exciting, but for anyone who likes coffee or maybe just doesn't like tea, but also doesn't want the caffeine, I tried it for the first time because I really just like the taste of coffee, and I just at night would just really like to have a coffee, but I shouldn't because I'm trying to be a responsible human being. And tea tastes like dirty water to me. And decaf also tastes like dirty water to me. So I tried this stuff out. It's like Ticino. I have absolutely no idea if that's actually how it's supposed to be pronounced. But, oh, is it supposed to be like tea plus cappuccino? Is that what that's supposed to be? I've never thought about it. Um, but what I tend to do with it is I make it like way stronger than you're supposed to make it. So it's like super, super, super dark. And then I've been adding in this coconut creamer and nut pods. Both really weird brand names, by the way. And in the past, I always used like, I don't know, like vanilla or like caramel or, I don't know, like pretty regular flavors. Um, and I think they were all the unsweetened versions. And just on a whim, I saw cookie butter and I was like, yes, please. And I didn't actually realize when I bought it that it said sweetened. I would not have bought it if I had seen that because I always thought I don't like super sweet things. Like, I mostly don't like super sweet things. But I did not notice that it says sweetened. And I bought it and oh my god, it's so good. Holy crap. It's so good. Like, I can't even, and it's funny, so like it actually doesn't taste as good in the tea, coffee stuff hot, but it makes like a crazy, crazy good iced coffee. Which I'm also just not like a big fan of, like just not a big iced coffee person. But something about that combination. Oh, and then the Ticino I also do flavored. I like lots of I like strong flavors, I guess. The Ticino that I always drink is either it's like an almond amaretto, or what's the one I've been vanilla almond might be the other one. Something, I don't know. Usually some version of vanilla or almond or like caramel. I don't know. Strong, really strong flavors. I'm not a what's the regular flavors people drink? I don't know. Not much not much. It's either black coffee or crazy flavors. It's got to be one. Like there's no in between. It's really really good though. If you're looking for a creamer. How did I get on this tangent? I think my cold coffee was making me think about that. I should have made a fancy iced coffee. No, I shouldn't. It's cold. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's only 81. I swear though, it feels way colder than 81. I wonder if it, yeah, I don't know. It feels way colder than that. I'm wearing a sweatshirt and a beanie. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you can't hear that. It's not that many going by, but it's a few. Excuse me. I'm a little sad to not be doing a 4-color pour, but man, I was so proud of myself for prepping so well. Womp, womp, womp. I am using these little mermaid tails for the first time ever. I have never used this mold right here. It is a brand new mold from, I think I've talked about this before, but I have a wholesale website that I like to use for brand new designs, things that I've never done anything like that before. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, if it's something that people will like. So what I'll often do is I'll buy, ooh, can you hear that ankle pop? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, my ankle popped on like sometime last week and I was playing back the video to try to chop it up into pieces, which doesn't work because it crashes my computer every time I try to chop up my videos. It's killing me, you guys. But anyway, I played it back and I was like, oh my God, that ankle pop sounded like I literally broke my ankle. It was so loud. I don't know what's wrong with them. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I like to buy these molds from and like mostly I buy molds from this place that are like very basic and simple because I am very, very afraid of. I have been burned once or twice with buying molds on Amazon that ended up being a knockoff of someone else's design. And I really, really, really don't like that. I really don't want to support that. But it's like impossible to know for sure, I feel like. So the only way I've really decided, I don't know, tell me if you have a better way, if you have a method that you sort of follow for this, but what I've kind of decided over time is I'm just only going to buy molds from a person or place that I trust. So this wholesaler, Um, I don't know a ton about them. So I don't use them for like very, very unique looking molds. And I'll be honest, they don't sell very unique looking molds. Everything that they sell is pretty basic, like this, mermaid tail. I mean, this is super basic, right? This isn't someone's stolen design. It's a mermaid tail. You know what I mean? So I try really hard to only order from them things that are really basic, which again, I don't even know why. Like, I don't even remember if I've ever come across something from them that isn't very basic like this that anyone could print off of a printer or whatever. But anyway, other than them, I I only order from people that I follow on Instagram and like not just people I follow, but like people that I really have been following for a good amount of time and trust and have like to some degree interacted with a little bit. And that's honestly like mostly the same for people, I would say. I don't even trust Etsy. And honestly, I don't think anyone should. I have seen many things on Etsy that um, are very clear resells from wholesalers. So I'm sure that there's a lot of design stealing going on as well, but like that right there to me is like, what the heck, man? I think I'm buying from a small independent person who's designing their own molds, but no, I recognize that mold because I just bought it from a wholesaler. You know what I mean? So like you're just buying, cheap molds from a wholesaler and then reselling them at a massive markup. I mean, like, holy cow, the markup I've seen on some of the things. And I'm like, dang, man, there's no way I would want to spend that at all, especially let alone like after seeing the price that the wholesaler was selling it for. I mean, I guess that is the point of a wholesaler, right? Is like so that people can buy and resell. But like, I feel like the problem with doing that on Etsy is people don't think that's what you're doing, right? People think that if you're on Etsy, you're an artist, you're a small business. They don't think you're a reseller. obviously, reselling business is a legitimate business, but I just think there's something about it being on Etsy that makes it scammy. Does that make sense? I don't know. It might be that I'm just being a brat about it, but I think that the average shopper on Etsy would be disappointed to know that they're buying something that was resold versus something that, a person or a small business handmade. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my impression of it. I think that's most people's impression of Etsy though, to be totally honest. All right, let's split this into 2 cups. Sorry. I was all prepped and excited about having all of these cups ready, but they're like all stacked to a degree that I have to. It doesn't matter. It took me a minute to get it out. All right. Half and half, yeah? Oh, I wanted to use like an old one. Whoopsies. This is what I was saying earlier, was some of these when they get really old, and to be honest, this actually might just be that it was like a crappier version. I'm not sure because these I've used a ton of and they still look fine, but they're not discoloring and they're not losing their lines, whereas these are discoloring and they're kind of becoming a lot harder to see the lines. So I like to use these when I've already mixed it, I'm just pouring in. And I prefer to use these when I'm doing a brand new mixture to make sure that the proportions are right. So that is why I wanted to go back and get one of these. My nose itches. Oh, let's just hit this really quick since we have lots of bubbles up at the top. Hit it with a bit of heat and then we'll split it up. We're gonna try. Ooh, I'm so sorry. I really hope my mic's okay. There is a what is that? What do they call a crane? Um, what are those? Oh, forklift. Okay, so whatever this is, it looks like a combination of a forklift and a crane. It's like a forklift the size of a crane. And it's hauling. I need to stop swearing so much. It's hauling. Okay. Oops, I turned that around to show you guys and I should have turned it back. Okay, so I'm sorry, it's shaking my mic. Okay, we're gonna do. Yay! I haven't used the orange yet. I'm so excited and nervous. I don't know if I've used this. Have I used this color pink too? I don't think I've used either of these actually. I'm very nervous to be putting paint on a stick that has epoxy because if I put too much, I can't really fix it, can I? But I'm gonna do it anyway. Just gonna be very careful, right? Oh, I didn't think about this though happening. If this, I can't really scrape it off the side because it has epoxy in it. Come here, drop. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna clean this top so it doesn't get gross. It drives me crazy. I know it doesn't matter, but I hate having like really nasty. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I was trying to show you guys the amount, but it fell off. I don't like the tops like I saw this meme of a sriracha bottle that was like disgusting. Like the top of it was like totally just nasty looking, just so gross. Like just sriracha everywhere, all up on the thing, the nozzle and everything. And it said something like, if your sriracha bottle doesn't look like this, we can't be friends. And like I get that it's a meme, but like I wanted to throw up. Like I was like, I don't want to be friends either. Like that's so gross. I hate it. I think the joke was supposed to be like that you actually use it versus just like I don't know who would like pretend to like sriracha, like, but I think that was supposed to be the joke, like. But I was just like, I can't see beyond that. I just want to hurl because that's absolutely disgusting. Like, it's so gross. I also don't like sriracha that much, to be totally honest. Oh, I know. I'm more of a Samyang kind of hot sauce person. Like if you've ever had, what is it? I think it's a Korean hot sauce. I think, is it? Oh gosh, I don't know if that's right. I think it is though. But I buy the, okay. Do you think this is gonna be too much for it'll be fine. But I buy like the ramen packs. It's like Samyang artificial chicken flavor. But you can buy the sauce that comes in those packets. You can buy it in a sauce bottle. And that stuff is where it's at. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. That I like. I use sriracha in like a, if I'm making fancy sushi and I want like a cream sauce, I use like veggies and sriracha as like the like creamy spicy filling, and that's pretty good. I guess it's like the equivalent of like a shrimp sauce or something, and that is good. But like just straight up putting sriracha on something, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I think I just like the taste of like serranos and stuff better. Like I'd rather just throw in like 4 serranos and like a couple of jalapenos and just cook it into something rather than like dump hot sauce on top afterward. I don't know. Or maybe it's just that I don't eat the normal stuff people eat. And uh-oh, do you think this is enough pink? Look how light it is. Hmm. It did look like like a slightly smaller drop. Do you think? I'm kind of afraid. Like I don't want to put too much in, but this is a very light pink. I would like it to look a little bit darker than that, you know? Just a little bit. We are gonna, even though we're not doing the 3-color, so we don't have a clear with the silver glitter, I do want to do, one. Oh, one? What am I saying? I do want to do a tiny bit of silver glitter in these more. you, you came out of lurk to tell me more pink. Yes, ma'am. We'll do it, do it. I'm scared though, to be honest. I'm scared. Because look, this is only, oh, you know what? This is a little bit bigger. Maybe that's partly why too. It looks like I, instead of splitting 50-50, I might have done like a 40-60. Well, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm afraid. I've only used as much as 1 drop per 50 milliliters, so I'm so scared of having curing issues. Okay, that is, I don't know, it's a bit more. It's not too much more though, right? We're gonna find out. Did I scrape the edges of this? Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't remember if I scraped the edges. I think I think I did. Oh, I can't remember. More pink is more important than lurk. It's so funny. Oh gosh, oh, that scared me. Whew. This little thing I just put in front of my face, I guess wasn't flat on the, you don't care, it doesn't matter. It scared me. Okay, so this is gonna end up being like the equivalent of, I think, like a 1.5 drops in 50 milliliters, which is quite a lot more than I expected to be using, but look how it's still pretty pale. Oh, you know what? There's still some on the stick too, though. Let's be a little bit more aggressive with it. I cannot honestly remember if we scraped the sides when we were stirring properly. Oh, I hate that. I'm always like, make sure to scrape your sides. And then I didn't pay attention if I did. I hate that. What's wrong with me? We really could have done 200s. Oop. We've let this sit long enough that we have some bubbles, so I'm gonna hit them real quick before I stir again. No reason to stir bubbles back in if they've already come up to the top for you. Okay, yeah, I think the orange is looking really good actually. All right, I'm gonna let them sit just a little bit while I figure out. I don't think that we'll actually have enough to do all of these, so I think we're definitely gonna do oranges. It's so funny because, oops, the girl who sells these, Cindy Jing, or I don't know, I mean the person, the company is called Cindy Jing. Um, it's not someone I've met in person, but they seem really sweet. But they actually sell this as a an orange mold, and I have so far I have made lemons, limes, and grapefruits, and I have yet to make oranges. So we're making oranges. Side note though, the grapefruits are so cute. Oh, you know what? We did use this pink because we made grapefruit. Um, I cannot for the life of me remember what that batch was. It must have been, oh, it was this batch down here, these girls. Oh, and you know what? It actually wasn't this. It wasn't this pink. It was the baby pink. So this is the hot pink. Man, they look so good. I really want to do more. I'm not even a pink person, but they look so much like just adorable little grapefruits, and it's a hollow mold, so it shines rainbow in the sun, and something about that like baby pink grapefruit, like they just something about the hollow makes them just look like just juicy little grapefruits. I don't know. It's something about it. It just works. So I was really digging them. I need to do more for sure. But I have been feeling a little bit bad that she like every time I post one of these, she likes it. But she's always like, "Oh, I like what you've done with it." You know, "Oh, I like that it's like you know, it's very clear like she was surprised because it's meant to be an orange." So, I'm gonna do an orange and I'm gonna show her I'm capable of making an orange. And I don't know if I want to do these suns. I thought that they'd be cool in like a in a swirl, but I don't know if I have the energy for that. If we have some at the end, we'll do a swirl. So we're gonna make oranges out of these guys too. Oh crap, I forgot you guys that we were gonna put just the tiniest bit of glitter. Shoot. I do like to wait. No, I was gonna say I do like to wait with this epoxy, but I think I have decided it's kind of a waste of time. I'm just gonna do like the tiniest bit because it just falls. It just totally falls. And what I don't want is to have just a wall of glitter. Um, when I use super clear, the glitter stays really, really nice and suspended. I see people say this all the time that you just have to do certain methods when you work with glitter, but I don't think that's true. I mean, you can, I guess. But I think that it's more like the kind of epoxy that you're using. Sorry, my hands look so gross because I used a water wipe. It's just water to get that glitter off. Um, but I noticed that a lot of people, they have all of these different methods for how to get your glitter to stop falling. And those methods might work, you know, I don't know. But they don't work for me with this epoxy. So the only thing that I have found, if I want the glitter to be really beautiful and suspended, like I always say, like the analogy to like a galaxy, to look more like a galaxy versus like a wall of glitter. The only way that I have found to do that is to use super clear. I'm sure that there are epoxies that you can use some of those other methods with that works. It just doesn't work with Epoxy Resin Store. Yeah, Bun, you're right. It definitely depends on the glitter for sure. Yeah, for sure. Now, I have found that with Epoxy Resin Store, I gotta be honest, with with this exact type anyway, they may have other, in fact, I'm sure that there are other different viscosity resins, they work differently. But this particular one, I have found zero methods that work. And I'm using a micro, like the finest. In fact, this is actually a cosmetic glitter. This is like, you know, you're not supposed to technically put any glitters on your eyes, but like this is one that's made for like cosmetics. It's extremely fine. So, and even this is going to create more of a wall look than a galaxy look. And I have not found, every single thing I've tried with this particular epoxy has not worked, but I still like using it. So, when I use a small amount, like a very tiny amount, like I just did, um, it ends up being fine. So that's really, if I want to use a lot of glitter and have it really be like a galaxy, I just use super clear. So it's not a big deal. These are little shakers, by the way. I'm so excited to use them and a little afraid. I'm actually very afraid because the shaker portion is very narrow, like extremely narrow, which is weird. So I think, and I don't want it to be this thick. Like, look how thick it is. So I think probably what's going to happen is I'm probably going to end up not filling it all the way, and it's going to have that sort of caved look to it. So I'll probably have to dome both sides. So it's going to end up being like one of these guys where I end up doming both sides, I think, unfortunately. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to try it though. I have two out, but maybe I'll just try the one. And now I have a third one here somewhere, I think, right? Let's see. Go ahead and flip these over. I've been loving these little fishies too as like little keychains. I have yet to turn one into a keychain. Oh no, I've made one. I've made one, but I like it so much that I haven't listed it because I kind of want to keep it. Okay, so we're not going to do her first, which makes me sad. So sad, but that's okay. I was so proud of myself for planning and I did not. Ooh, we're going to make an orange sickle, yeah? And now why did I get the snakes out? Was I going to make funky colored snakes? Oh, you know what I am? I'm going to make pink snakes because for some reason, all of the pink snakes I've made, people just like scoop them up and I don't get it. Pink snakes, you guys, but people are digging them, so I thought let's try a pink paint pair. All right. So, in fact, let's see. This is going to be hard to see because it's a pink mold. Oh my gosh, this epoxy is acting crazy. Can you see that? It's like, it's already really thick. Oh my gosh. Interesting. I've been yapping more than I thought, haven't I? That's the only, that's the only answer to what's happening here. Ooh, we trapped a huge air bubble in there. So this is one of those that I always say, try to just, even though it overfilled right there, that's better. Try to fill where you've already filled so you don't create air bubbles. See, so his tail, I want that to level in. I don't want to pour directly into his tail because I'll create air bubbles. So this is going to be a mess that I'll have to just scoop up later, and that's fine. It's better than getting air bubbles in him because if I get air bubbles in that guy, they'll create a structural issue where he might be unusable. So these fish, actually, this might be really cool if this glitter falls in the fish, I think, because his little fin might be like, actually, I really hope it does. I think his fin will be cute. Okay, so I've been doing these little skulls down here in bright colors. Like all of my other skulls I do in very gothic colors. Black and maybe like my warlock, you know, black and purple. But for the most part, I stick to very gothic looking colors. But I've been doing this particular style of skulls in like very bright pastels. And I've been doing them on like little hoops with like bright silver stars, and it's been kind of adorable. So I'm going to keep that theme going and do pink and hope that this is, gosh, this pink is going to be so hard to see on like almost every mold. And this, oh my gosh, I almost poured this into the, ooh, I came really close to pouring this into the oranges. I almost made grapefruits. Now I kind of want to do a half and half pour with like a dirty pour-ish on this unicorn. And on the comb too. Well, let's go do some orange first, and then we'll do that. So we're going to do an orange sickle. And I've been doing a different color on the back side of this than the border, but I actually think this is going to be really beautiful, especially if the glitter falls. It'll create more of a border anyway. you know, more of a brighter silver border. I don't think I've put too much glitter in here, actually. I do think that is one thing, that if I put a very, very, very light amount like this into the epoxy resin store, epoxy, that does tend to, I mean, a lot of it does still fall, but there's so few glitter in it at all that I think it doesn't make as big of a, it's not as big of an issue, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna pour in him just enough to cover the backside, but I don't think I'm gonna fill this mold because I don't know, that would just be such a thick. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with these little crabs yet, but I mean keychain for sure. But kind of in the back of my head, I kind of sort of have this hope that they potentially could make cute earrings. Is that weird? I have several pairs of earrings that I make regularly that are made from molds that are 100% not intended to be earrings, but you know, work with, you know, like the skulls, for example. As long as I'm really, really careful in how I make them, I can make them thin enough to be light enough to be still comfortable to wear. Okay, now this is a mold we have to be super careful with because if we pour it into the center there, it creates air bubbles. So I'm actually going to try this method this time and pour it around the edges and see if that fixes. Yeah, it looks like it did. Awesome. You just want to be so careful not to pour directly onto an area where air bubbles could easily form. But because this mold has lots of edges like that, I've been kind of trying a different strategy each time, but it looks like that worked really, really, really well, actually. I think that worked really well, so I'm going to do that again. I'm just going to pour all along the edge. Oop, 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 not the edge, because the edge, I definitely could create air bubbles in there, but like this the outer side of the inner ring, does that make sense? Because otherwise what we do is we end up getting air bubbles in like inside that center pinwheel. But yeah, it looks like this strategy worked really, really well. Be really careful, let it pour over the edges itself and self-level itself. Because if you try to pour into those outer edges, they're so thin there, you're gonna very likely trap air and create air bubbles. And air bubbles on the side of a mold stink because they create sharp edges that you really, I mean, bubbles anywhere are kind of, they're unsightly, right? But a bubble on the edge of a mold is just so much worse in my opinion because it makes the object sharp. Which in these probably isn't a huge deal, they're just earrings, but you still don't want to, you know, grab your earring, pick up your earring and have it have a sharp edge. It's not great, you know, I don't think. Okay. Have we done all of the single, no, we haven't done all the single colors. We got these guys. Man, we're really running out. Oh, we have quite a lot more pink. Well, I really wanted to do these different, but I guess. Oh wait, did I do orange in the other one? I don't think I did. That's okay. Kind of want to do the other color as their fins, but if I pour it in this early, it'll just blur together, which would be cute, but isn't what I'm going for. So I think we'll just do a separate layer. We'll be doing lots of bright colors though, so it's not a big deal. I wanted to make these oranges, but we're really running out of orange. I can't believe it took me this long to make oranges. I really like these a lot. This mold is pretty crappy. This was an Amazon purchase, and I think I've decided I'm just literally never going to buy molds from Amazon ever again. Because there's always something wrong with them. Even if it's like perfect to use, there's something else wrong with it. Like it's like literally stolen or like it's a resell. That's the other thing I've noticed, that there are a lot, and this is less like, this isn't shady in my opinion. Like it is normal for people to resell on Amazon, so I don't think you're misleading anybody. Like I don't think it's shady, so don't think that's what I'm saying at all. At all, at all. But, you know, I still don't like feeling like I'm kind of I was gonna say being cheated, but again, it's not, right? Because Amazon has its own benefits, right? You get something really fast. So like, let me back it up. So for example, I've seen quite a lot of things on Amazon that are the exact same molds that I buy from the wholesaler. And they are quite a lot more expensive on Amazon. But to be fair, you are paying to get something, you know, next day, 2 days. And you do also have like all the assurances of Amazon, right? Like if something were to go wrong, like I don't know about everyone else's experiences, but my experiences with Amazon are, you know, despite anything you might say about them, generally my experiences like when I have an issue have been great, you know. If something doesn't arrive, if something arrives messed up, if just whatever issue, like honestly, literally any issue at all, they're pretty good, I think. As good as I think I could expect a company that big to be. I have zero complaints anyway. So I get that you're paying for that. But I just hate the thought of like, I don't know, of spending 10 times the amount on a mold that maybe you wouldn't buy from there if you knew it existed on a wholesale website. But now I will say, for what it's worth though, the wholesale website, I have to wait a full month to get it. So yeah, if I was in a hurry, I could, yeah, I mean, there's benefit there. No question. There's some benefit there. Okay, so I think we've done all of the, oh, you know what? Let's fix the snakes before we do our dual color pour. And we are about 20 minutes in though, so I do need to hurry it up. It's shocking, I know, but I'm going a little slow. All right, and I'm trying really hard to, again, for anyone who might not have heard me say this 1,000 times before, I'm trying really hard to just do quick 1 second flashes here and there of the lighter. Really, really, really do not want to be going crazy with the lighter. It is not good. It will destroy your molds. Woo! Sorry. Oh, I just yelled into the mic. I am so sorry. I just freaked out because I caught this fishy on my glove and thought I was about to throw it down a bunch of flights of stairs. So, yeah, but like honestly, the number of times that I see someone complaining that this mold is so crappy, like guys, I'm about to get like a teeny tiny bit salty, but it is not your mold. Your mold is not the problem. I guarantee. I am hoping, like, I would love so much for someone who is convinced that their mold is just shitty and it just sticks and there's just nothing you can do about it. I would love to know what mold that is because it's so possible that that is a thing, but I have never encountered one like it. Never, ever. Anytime that I've ever had an issue with my mold, it's been because I accidentally overheated it. And I think that a lot of us, and this was me in the very beginning, like I watched 1,000 videos, you guys, like 1,003 videos. Actually, I'm like joking, but actually I probably did watch over 1,000 videos to be totally honest with you, about epoxy and just everything there is to know. And one thing I noticed early on was the amount of heat people were using, and it took me a while to really get down the rabbit hole of epoxy and everything to learn that what I was seeing people do, which was use a ton of heat, using torches, using just all kinds of huge amounts of heat. It took me a really, really long time and like really going pretty deep into the epoxy YouTube rabbit hole for me to finally come across people who are explaining not to do that and that that's not something you should be doing. And to be totally honest, I don't know if I remember the first person that I heard say, it's not your mold, it's you kind of a thing. It might have been the pen guy. Honestly, to be honest, I really don't know, but I do get a lot of really good information from him. So if you've ever seen on YouTube Zach, it's Resin Works. He's really, really, really amazing. He doesn't use the kind of he doesn't even use an epoxy at all. He uses Alumilite, which is a resin. He doesn't do anything like what I do. It's all like casting and turning. He's a blank maker actually. But I just get such good information from him. Every time I watch him, it's like he's not doing anything near like at all similar to what like my project is, but it's still just he just has such valuable information, like general information to give. And I don't remember if it was him that said that, but it might have been. Where did oh, here it is. Um, but for the longest time, I would hear people saying stuff like, oh, just, don't buy these, crappy molds. These crappy molds are just like this. And so I was like, oh, okay. Note to self, don't buy crappy molds, you know? Um, but I will say, and I'm a little ashamed to say, but I will say, I have bought some really crappy molds, you guys, like really crappy molds. And I haven't had a single problem with any one of them. Um, Sticking, except and unless I use too much heat. Literally the only time I've ever had an issue with a mold ever, 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 ever. Okay, sorry, jumping down off the soapbox. It's like, sorry. It makes me so like scared when I watch videos of like the amount of heat some people use because it can be so dangerous too. And you're destroying your molds, of course. Let's do some double colors. And I'm gonna hit the cup really quick to get the bubbles that are just sitting on top. See, that's the other thing too, is like I'm like super, super, super against using too much heat, but I'm not using heat. I mean, you see me using it constantly, just all the time. But the big difference is I try so hard to be super, super, super mindful of the amount I'm using and if it's the right time to be using it. So like you see, I get a toothpick and pull, like out of this crab, pulling the bubbles out before hitting it with heat. Because if you try to just go in there with the heat to get those bubbles, first off, it's honestly not going to work. Like it's going to be a struggle. But also the amount of heat that you're going to have to force into this thing, 100% you're not going to get this thing out. It's going to be so stuck in there. Oh my gosh, you guys, we don't have much left. We can't really do double pours. So I think we're just going to do a pink unicorn then. And shoot. We might have enough to do these mermaids, but if we don't, what's gonna happen is it's gonna like fall halfway up, which is gonna look stupid. If it was a mica, I wouldn't be so worried because I think a mica would hold. Remember how I was saying that earlier with the stripes? Like if I had poured a mica here, starting here, and I let it flow in, and then I poured another color on top, the other mica would do a better job of like shimmying over to some extent, this part. The initial mica that went down would hold pretty well onto the mold, but I have not had that same experience with paints at all. They tend to really push each other around and really take up their own space, and they tend to move over on the mold for for someone else kind of a thing. So the question is this enough orange to fill? It is enough to fill one, but it's not enough to fill two. Dang it. I think a better idea at this point, to be honest, is to just fill the backside with pink. You know what, though? This mold is kind of funny. I don't know if it'll stay here. We might have to pour both colors. Let's watch it and see. Is it going to stay or is it going to fall through? Is it going to stay? I don't know. Oh, this is so pretty. The pink with the, what's it called? Glitter. It's so beautiful. I don't think it's going to stay. I mean, it might, but I'm scared. So let's just pour the orange. I kind of wanted to do these the other way. I kind of think that this might be slightly ugly for some reason. I don't know why. To me, for some reason, doing like the orange fins and then a pink top seems uglier, but here we are. We're gonna do it. Well, we've done it. So let's pull more into the pink side because the orange is going to take over. Okay, all right. It's cute. I like it. I'll do the same thing here. Yeah. Oh gosh, I think it's just because the mold is also pink that this is looking so beautiful, but it is just looking so beautiful with the silver glitter and the pink. It's definitely falling though, which makes me sad. Uh-oh, here it comes. Oh no. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to let that fall before getting this in. I don't think it's as big of a concern since it's not mica, but I am still new enough to using paints that I'd rather not do that. I'd rather you didn't. Ooh, we got a big air bubble in there. All right. We have like basically no orange left though. Okay, that's fine. Uh-oh. You know what? This mold is not super level. So it's starting to come over the edge, even though it's not filled up there. I should have known better. I shouldn't have filled it all the way. This is a brand new mold again, by the way, that I have not used before. So that's something I should have been. I was kind of sort of eyeing it, kind of thinking that that might be the case, but I just went and poured it anyway. I was really thinking. It's my usual these days is I think, oh, this looks like it might be a bad idea, and then I just do the thing. It might be a bad idea. Okay, I think it's pretty though. So we are out of that. That's too bad. I really wanted to do like a, really wanted to do a combo on this little unicorn, but that's okay. Hopefully that drop will self-level in. I don't have to clean it off, but I might have to clean it off. Actually, I will. Yeah, let's do it. Because I tried to fill these self-defense keychains, this one and the little fox, I try to fill them as high as possible because I already end up having to do many layers on these. This is what I was talking about earlier today, that I want these to be super, super, super smooth, like very, very comfortable to hold in your hand and not have a single little tiny scratch or anything. And the reason is, of course, because not only is it a keychain, but it's a self-defense keychain, right? It's meant for you to hold in your hand. So I do not want any sharp edges at all. So I'm not a sander since I don't do sanding and polishing. That means that I do extra layers, which maybe one day I'll change that method, but right now I prefer this method. And I don't honestly don't have a proper space to be doing sanding in a way that is safe. So I would rather just not. So I don't. So oops, his tail's coming over. We gotta fix this before we put him away, otherwise I will forget. Now the only problem is that I'm gonna keep pulling out orange, so it's gonna keep pushing down pink, which is let's scoop out some pink instead and see if it'll self-level over there. I'll just give it to you. Would you like some more pink, friend? Don't mind me, I'm talking to the fish mold. Oh gosh, it's really coming out. Oh my goodness. Okay. Probably because I displaced it by doing that. Oops, I don't want to put too much more in here because I do want his little fins to be, when we put the second color in there, to be seen. Okay. Oops. Whoopsies. I'm trying to avoid pulling it away from the very corner because I don't want to introduce an air bubble into the very, very tippity top here because that'll create a really sharp edge. This is already going to be, you know, a sharp edge because it's just a sharp corner like that. Corner? Sharp. At least a sharp edge. So I don't want to make it even sharper by adding, you know, an air bubble that's going to turn into additional sharp edges there. So, all right, hopefully that fixed it up enough. If not, oh, maybe not. Gosh, I don't want to manipulate this too much, but I kind of feel like, all right. Let's take out a little bit more pink. Uh-oh, I accidentally added it to the skull that had too much already. Well, I do like these skulls to be overfilled just a little bit because they create a more bubbly look, which I like. But if they're too overfilled, then they're just ruined. So we don't want to ruin them. He is almost at that point too. The reason I'm doing this is I don't want the more I scoop the orange out, the more the pink will come down, right? And I want it to be more even with this because I highly, highly doubt these are going to be earrings, but I always try to keep that in mind when I'm first filling a mold that I've never used before. What I'm going to end up doing with this first one is it's going to be my tester that I wear and try out as different things. So if I think that they might be possible as earrings, that's what I'll do first, and then go from there. And then maybe if they don't work as earrings, maybe we'll test them out as keychains or something. I actually bought these to be sort of kind of almost like a ring holder in a tray to sit up. I thought it might be cute if this sat up, you know what I mean, in a tray, and then you could put the rings on the top. It's not like the most useful, but it would be cute. You know what I mean? Like not useful as in you know it's only two ring slots. You could only get a few rings on each. But I could definitely see someone liking that for a tray that's like their favorite rings that they keep in their bedroom or on their bedside table or something like that, which I do all the time. Like I have the little trinket bowls all over my house, and I'll have one that's like my main rings or whatever. So anyway, that's actually what I bought them for. But seeing how cute they are and how thin they are, it made me think maybe we'll test out. Maybe we'll test out earrings first. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we do have a little bit of pink left, and I'm kind of wondering if we should just fill her up. Is that weird? My only hesitation, because it is her backside, so we don't care. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh, I almost knocked this down all the stairs. All the stairs. My only hesitation is she does have some clear here, and this is a darker pink. So, yeah, I don't think we will. I don't think we will. Okay. I don't know about a pink crab. That's a bit weird. Oh, have I talked about this before? Like the little micro bubbles? So this is one thing I do love using heat for, by the way, is when you wait long enough and you get this trail of micro bubbles. Depending on your working conditions, these might resolve themselves, but for me personally, they don't. They're just gonna sit there. A lot of them will, these little micro bubbles on top, a lot of them will burst, but a lot will not. And so what you do is when you demold this, you'll end up with a rough texture. And if it's something that you're gonna dome anyway, maybe you don't care, but honestly it takes 2 seconds. So what I do is I just wait till it all comes up. I make sure there's no air bubbles anywhere, which I haven't actually done. We should do. It doesn't look like it though, which is shocking. So that makes me think I'm just missing them. But anyway, I don't know if you can really see it, but there's just a trail here. They're collecting as the epoxy heats up and cures. It's pulling everything into the centers, and so it's pulling everything here into like the center of this horn and into the center here and in here, and all of those micro bubbles are being pulled into those areas. So I just hit it with quick couple second heat, just like quick right there, we just got all the micro bubbles there. Quick right there, we just got them all there. Quick right there, we just got them all on his face. And it's just that simple. That's how I like to use heat. Not to get out deep like air pockets that you should be using, in my opinion, like toothpicks and stuff for. Ooh. Oh, we still had him on 2 years. That's what it was. Probably gonna have more on his face too later, so oops, I'm sorry. We'll hit that again later. Okay, so what do we do with the rest of this pink then? Should we do a comb? I don't know. When you pour in a mold like this, by the way, you really want your epoxy to be more workable so that it self-levels through all these channels on its own. and we're at the end of the working time, so I'm a little bit hesitant to use it in this mold because, oh my gosh, it's also a bit dirty. I also should take some tape to it. A mold like this, little comb, you really want a lower viscosity epoxy, or you want to use your thick viscosity epoxy immediately, so as soon as you've poured it. And it is so shallow that it's okay to do that because the bubbles are going to come up unless, you know, there's some weird situation happening. Like, for example, me right now with super clear and the temperature issue, that could create an issue. But it's such a thin mold. I really think that it'd be an unusual case for you to have an issue with micro bubbles. So the faster you can pour it into here, or not faster, but you know, earlier in the process, the more what it's going to do. And I actually have a reel of this, but of showing it self-leveling. So I literally just pour it here along the back and it just self-levels into here. Or I think sometimes I pour it here and let it self-level that way. That's a little bit more risky because you could introduce air pockets. And also you have to make sure that this top is super, super clean, like very clean, because any little chunks that are left up top, any hair or chunk of old resin or anything is going to grab onto the epoxy and it's not going to come down off that edge and self-level in. It's going to stick. It's going to stay up on that piece. So that's a huge, huge, huge problem with a mold like this. You absolutely need to. What I do is I try to make sure that all of these little pieces are out of here, and then I come through with a lint roller or a piece of tape, and I make sure it is perfectly clean. So we are not going to do that because he's not perfectly clean, and I don't know if I trust this epoxy at this workability. I mean, this is going to be basically goo wherever I pour it into, so what do we do? What do we do with it? I know what we do. We're going to make some of these little heart star shakers. Yeah. Still probably not a good idea because we could create some major air pockets with these, I think, but it's what was in front of my face. It's what we're gonna do. So let's do it. Oh, in fact, I don't actually think we're gonna end up doing very many. Maybe we will. Let's see. Should not do what I'm doing right now, which is using the stick to pull it out. It's not necessary, and I'm just creating air bubbles, so I need to stop doing that. When you're doing something like this, again, remember, try to pour it in one spot directly in an area that's not likely to create air bubbles. And then let it self-level into these channels on its own. Sorry, I was getting rid of the stick. And and I forgot that I don't remember how well we stirred this, but I'm gonna assume that we did a good job. Did we do a good job? I really hope we did a good job because I'm using the rest of this stuff. They're just little new shakers anyway, I guess, here at the end. Might as well try and see what happens, right? Worst case, I have an example to show you guys what it looks like when it doesn't cure in a mold, and we can do the freezer method for you. I really, really, really do want to do a video on the freezer method because it just blows my mind that it's not, that information's not out there on YouTube already. Oh crap, I stuck this mixer down on that dirty back end of that comb here. Just gonna scrape the edges, which might be a huge mistake because we might not have stirred it well, but we're gonna do it because otherwise we don't have enough for the shaker anyway. And the freezer method to get goo out of your molds is like, it blew my mind how simple it was, how easy it was compared to what I see everyone, seems like everyone doing when they have that issue. So I really, 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 really want to show that to you guys. I mean, I say it all the time, but I feel like it's one thing to say it and it's another thing to show it, right? So I do really want to show you guys what I mean when I say, like, literally just pop it in the freezer. It is just that simple, like, really and truly. But there's something about showing that is more helpful, I think, right? Often. Okay, so you see the workability. This is not even falling over the edges. It's so gooey at this point, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and do it, and if we introduce air bubbles, then it's whatever. So we're at the end here, and I'm out of patience. And then what we'll do is he'll just have a different color backer, which is fine. fact, I bet it'll be cute. Okay. Dang, we're not gonna have time to do the black and gold pour. We're gonna have to do that on Friday, which is fine. I was really hoping to get the skulls done before then so I could take them to the market this weekend, the studs, but I guess everyone's just gonna have to like the Warlock studs. Gosh, it was so amazing. I wish I could remember the person. Is that like a piece of debris? Oh my gosh. Someone, dude, someone bought 4 freaking pairs of the same skull studs. I was like shocked. He was like trying to decide between the 4 and was like, we're just gonna get all of them. I was like, wait, sorry, say again? Which one? Which one? The all 4? Which is great. But now I'm like, dang it, now I only have one color version to show people on Saturday. Ah. Well, no, that's actually not true. I do have more of the other colors, just not many. Ow. Just not enough to feel comfortable. Why do these look crooked? Do they look maybe the molds are not quite. These are from the wholesaler. So I'm actually very impressed with like 9 out of 10 molds that I get from the wholesaler. I'm very impressed. I never have found any issues like with the molds having holes in them or something, which I have gotten from Amazon molds. Or like just poorly designed, you know, like I've gotten some molds that are just like just so poorly designed. Like the let me show you. Oh, maybe I don't have it out here. I don't have it out here because I was like, screw this mold. No, but it's like a dandelion mold. It's a coaster. It's very cute. It's just little dandelions, right? But the problem is this, or I mean, it's like a big dandelion. The stem of the dandelion, it extends to the edge of the mold, which is cute, right? I totally get why you think that's a good idea because it's cute. The problem is that in practice, that means that I can't dome it. And the design of this coaster is such that you really need to paint. Or I mean, or even if you don't, you could use like a nail powder or whatever on the mold. But regardless, you're gonna dome these coasters. Oh, so sorry, because it is a coaster, and the mold is so deep. The design that's etched into it is so deep that I can't imagine that. Excuse me. I can't imagine that anyone would ever sell them as coasters without doming them. Excuse me. Because the design is so deep. And so like any condensation or anything would fall like into those. It would just be gross. I wish I had one to show you. But it's not like I have these little leaves that have holes in them. But to me that's different. Like sometimes if you have like a trivet style coaster, you just know, okay, well we use this on glass, right? It's no big deal. But this coaster, it's not a hole, right? It's just a very deep groove in the surface of the coaster. And so like I can only imagine after just a couple weeks like how much like dirt and dust and just grime would be down in there. And how you gonna clean your coasters with like a toothbrush? I don't think so. I'm not gonna do that. So you have to dome it in my opinion. So but because the design makes it so difficult to dome, I just went on a rant for nothing. But anyway, all of that is to say, you come across things like that a lot on Amazon, where you have just a poorly thought out design a lot of the time, or it's a ripoff of someone else, or like my little coffees, they have the grooves were not very well thought out. They just trap air bubbles like crazy, so it's just a lot of work. Versus like a mold maker would have thought that through, right? They would have found a better way to create those lines, you know, maybe a thinner line, or maybe they do a texture on it, like any number of things that like a proper mold maker would have thought through. to make it just, you know, just a better design. So I don't remember why I went on this tangent. Except to say that you come across that a lot on Amazon. Um, oh, I was saying I don't have those issues with the wholesaler. I really don't. The main issue that I do sometimes run across with the wholesaler is leveling issues. I will say that's probably the number one issue I run across with them is that the silicone. And it's funny because it's like the design is level, but it's like whatever their process for then coming through and cutting. I'm guessing they're trying to save as much silicone as possible, so they're probably, you know, cutting it down and then like reusing those scraps, right? I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that whatever process they use of cutting them down is not always straight. I don't know. Um, so that is one issue I have come across with them. But I'll be honest, I've come across that issue with like a proper mold maker too. So maybe that's just something that happens, unfortunately, sometimes, you know. All right, so we didn't do our golden black, but I think what we'll do is, because we only have 5 minutes left. All right, so let's just babysit these last few and be done. Dang, I thought we're gonna have to do our coasters then too. I hate leaving this one kind of gross, but it's just the back side, so it's fine. So what we'll do on, oh, and you know, we could do glitter on her. We could maybe even do a rainbow glitter on her. That's what we'll do. We'll do a rainbow glitter pour, and we'll fill the rest of her, and we'll fill the rest of the garden markers on Friday. This is gonna create a funny look here on this. And then what we'll do is, yeah, see it? Oh, I don't think it's a level issue. I think it's just going where it can. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll do black and gold skulls. And then what else will we do? Oops, I didn't have a towel. I'm kind of thinking that I will maybe, what do we think about maybe doing some assembly on Friday? I would kind of like to make some of those, finish up some of these studs. I have a ton of skulls, like the warlock skulls, like these style that I showed you earlier, but also lots of others, like Alley Cat Crafts, who does this mold here, and some of the others that I love so much. She has these teeny tiny skulls that are her, it's actually her logo. And in fact, I think it might have been a freebie. Is that right? No, 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 it wasn't. She has a different little skull and bone that was a freebie. That's also really cute. I also have a bunch of those to make into pins. So maybe what we'll do is we'll finish up this quick glitter pour of Rainbow Hollow. Look how much, see, here's the problem when you pour into something like this at the very end when it has lost its workability is we got lots of micro bubbles, but that's okay. That's okay. Is what it is. This is a shaker, so I'm a little bit less worried about it because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up filling the front anyway. So maybe I'm going to stop being so concerned with this because we're going to fill it and then put a topper on it anyway and then end up doming it. So if there are any bubbles that create those sharp edges, you know, in the edges, we'll just tape it when we dome it, which honestly we're probably going to do anyway. And clean those right up. They'll just be gone. So yeah, I'm not going to worry about it too much. So, oh, I said I was going to talk and babysit, and all I did was talk. Let's see. Did we ever check on her? Is she fine? Oh, she looks so good. I do sometimes forget on these trays that I still need to make sure there's not a bubble. It's so less likely, but it is still possible. And it's really not great to have a bubble in the final. She does actually have one in her lip. When it's the final top coat, it does make it that much worse when you have a bubble. Ooh, getting that out at that late stage was risky, but it'll self-level back. So, oh, we didn't actually get the bubble though. Dang it, it's really in there. Shoot. Ooh, I hate messing with them at this stage, but it just doesn't look good. It's deep enough that it's not going to create a surface issue, but it just doesn't look good to me. Come here. Dang. Okay, did we get it? We got it. Oh, I just yelled. Sorry. We got it. All right, that's why you checked that much earlier than that. That could have been a problem. For sure. Does she have little bubbles on her chin, or is this from the paint? Oh, that's from the paint. That's really unfortunate. That means that's not fixable. That's really too bad. I wish I had noticed that before. She's still really beautiful. Okay. I'm loving this purple and black and white with the mirror rocks. It looks good. Okay. Oh man, this little fin is trying so hard to still fall over. I think it's gonna be okay. Oof, it's close though. No, it is actually falling over the one side still a bit. Okay. I think I'm just gonna take just the littlest bit out. Okay, hopefully that'll be plenty. And did we babysit these oranges? And oh, I said we were gonna get his face one last time too, just to be sure, right? Yeah. It's crazy how many little micro bubbles come up and just create that little film there. Especially in this mold. I wonder if it's because of this design it traps a lot. Probably. Uh-oh, I hope that that's not... Do you see that? It's kind of over this side just a little bit. If that's over too much, then I'm gonna have to sand it, and we don't sand around here. I wonder if that's because that's a hard piece. That's unfortunate. This is what I was talking about. If you accidentally leave a hard piece, it just grabs onto it. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. That's unfortunate. Hopefully that's thin enough at this point though that we can just pop it off when we demold him. We'll find out. Okay, so one last tray to babysit. Oh, and then her, shoot. Maybe we could quickly do her ear on Friday. Now I don't like to hit this mold too much with heat, except unless I have to. Ooh, it's really hard to tell pink on pink. I really can't tell. There does look like there's a micro bubble down there. Or not a micro bubble, but a small bubble. I don't know if it's a good idea to try to get it out, but it's not small enough that it's going to affect the structure of this piece, but I think it's big enough. Or what did I just say? It's not big enough to where I think it'll affect the structure of the piece, but I think it might be big enough to just be ugly. I'm really afraid to... Ooh, I'm afraid to mess with it. I think I'm going to leave it be. Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. We're just going to leave it be. Okay. Alrighty. Oh man, we have some down there that were domes that are falling over the side and really creating kind of a funny look. So I don't always liquid latex the sides, and I'm really hoping I did on those that it's doing that on. Ooh. I don't have like a perfect method yet for liquid latex, because really what I kind of think I need to do is like a layer on the back and then do the sides separately. But what happens is I end up forgetting to do the sides sometimes if I don't do them all at once. If I do them all at once, it's just such a mess, and I have more chance of getting it on the front, like of it, you know, flopping around and falling into the front. And to me, that's almost worse, is getting liquid latex on the front and not being able to see it, because then, like, it's defeating the whole purpose of doming, right? If I have liquid latex on the front and I don't catch it. So I don't know. I think it's probably just something that it's going to take practice and getting into a routine with it, you know? So, okay, I think that's everything then. What we're going to do is, um, Friday. You guys have already forgotten. We literally just talked about this, right? This is going to create a funny look here for sure. But I don't know if I care. I don't know if I care. It's our first batch of these anyway. So, okay, Friday. We're gonna do, that's right, the garden markers. We're gonna do clear with rainbow hollow and silver. On all the garden markers, we're gonna finally finish them up, which I'm super excited about. And the tray, finish the girl up. And then we'll do, I have a ton of trays down here for us to do a black and gold. What I think we'll do is we'll do some black, some gold, and then I'll show like dirty pours of black and gold. Maybe we'll even do the comb. I like to do black and gold combs. They look pretty cool. The way that the two kind of feather when you do a dirty pour, it always looks kind of different and neat. So, oh, and then the death tarots. That's what we domed earlier today, and they were like very pastel and cutesy, which is fine. But I want to do some black and gold, like not a dirty pour, but like a straight up half and half pour. So I think that'll be cool. And then hopefully we'll also have time to do some assembly. I don't know. I think that I maybe will start making Fridays full assembly days, but maybe we'll just test out this Friday just doing the last half, whatever time we have left. And I say assembly, but honestly, what I mostly have to do this Friday is like gluing backs on studs. So I don't know. I'm still thinking that through. That might be boring. I don't know if that's going to be boring to watch. Um, I don't know. I don't know. We'll think it through. Let me know if you have a strong opinion on that. But otherwise, we're actually ending kind of on time for the first time, like ever. So thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you hopefully again on Friday. All right, see ya.